pull up a chair. This is Off the Back Porch. Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer is brought to you in part by Country Village Sporting Goods. Everything you need to get in the woods, the water, or to the camp is at Country Village Sporting Goods. Jason Hardy State Farm. Like a good neighbor, Jason Hardy at State Farm is there. And Larry's Pizza in El Dorado, home of the Double Pizza Parade.
20 plus years of bringing you the most important and latest information with local happenings, news, sports, opinions, and probably an attempt at humor. Also brought to you in part by Davis Farms Country Market. For farm to table fresh, it's Davis Farms Country Market. Cook's Body Shop. Chances are it will happen. And when it does, look to Cook's. Murphy Arts District. For the latest information on concerts and events, go to eldomad.com.
Recorded live from Main Street Pizza in historic, beautiful downtown El Dorado, Arkansas. With a history of being the voices you trust. This is Off the Back Porch with Boomer and Sandy. Or Sandy and Boomer. Or two old guys you've known for a long time, whatever. And now your hosts, Troy, Boomer, Barrios, and B.A. Sandy Sanford.
Hey, and welcome for another edition of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and no Boomer. And as a matter of fact, without Boomer, I had to have two people come on the podcast to make up for one Boomer.
And we're still short.
Yeah.
Still can't fill the shoes.
Still don't have the intellect to fill that.
Short.
But no, Boomer's going to be out for the next couple of weeks, and everything's good. He's just, this is his play-like job. This is his play-like thing. His real job is he trains dogs, and not just any dogs. These are championship dogs, right?
Right.
And so he's gone to some kind of national championship thing or another. I don't know. He tells me about it, and I act like I'm excited. Really? Wow, man, that's fabulous. I have no clue. No clue whatsoever he's talking about.
Just smiling.
And you know why I do that? Because he's my friend.
There you go.
And I want him to feel good about
There
that.
you go. There you go. And you're going to edit this out, right?
I didn't say her name.
Okay.
I didn't call my wife out specifically. About just making me feel good about something every now and then. I know I'm never going to be right about anything. Let's be clear about that. Okay? So, again, welcome to this week's edition of Off the Back Porch. And with us is my good friend, Buddy Hall, who has not only been my good friend for a long time, but carries me in every golf tournament we play in. And also my good friend for a very long time, David Lee from the El Dorado Boys and Girls Club. And David, we have gotten a lot of comments since your last appearance on this show.
I hope they were good.
They were good.
Okay.
And one of them was, I gave David credit for being smarter than that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, well, first of all, being on there with y'all. And secondly, he was sitting there saying, I want to go into youth ministry. And he's like, dude, what are you doing? This is what you're doing.
That's right.
You live it every day, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, welcome along. We're glad to have you with us. And it's a beautiful week here in South Arkansas. Not quite as cool as I expected it would be. If you'd have told me, here mid-October, we'd still be touching the 80s. Yeah. But it's coming.
The mornings are feeling a whole lot better.
They
sure
are.
Yeah.
I walked outside last night like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, ooh, now this, I feel my neck starting to swell.
That's right.
I can see me sitting in a deer stand real quick.
That's right.
Hey, guys, I was watching an episode of Family Feud. And, because I had absolutely nothing else to do, right?
Now, this was a show, or was this happening in your house?
Well,
the show, right?
The show, yes.
The show, okay.
With Steve Harvey. Okay. And they asked 100 people, name the greatest rock and roll bands of all time.
Oh, wow.
Top 8 answers are on the board.
Okay, are we talking like heavy metal, hardcore?
They just said greatest rock and roll bands of all time.
Well, Leonard Skinner's got to be up there, right?
Okay, it did not make the list.
AC/DC?
Well, wait.
AC/DC, number 3.
Where
Number
were they,
three,
where were they
all right.
asking? Where were they asking these people?
Well, that I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, so we got to know that, too.
Yeah, that's kind of a southern thing, I think.
Well, I'll get to that in a second. But
Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stones, number 2.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So we have AC/DC and the Rolling Stones.
AC/DC, Rolling Stones, and there's 8, you said?
Yes.
Goodness. Led Zeppelin's not on there, right?
Yes, number 4.
4, dang.
Wow.
Who is number 1?
Would they consider the Beatles?
The Beatles, number one.
There you go.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you consider? I don't know if
I
that's,
would.
I don't know if that's rock and roll or not. But hey,
It was at the time.
We already figured out these people don't know what they're talking
That's
about.
true.
They left Leonard Skinner on.
That's right.
That's true. Good point. Yeah, you're right.
But it was, at the time,
Yeah.
that was rock and roll.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know.
All right.
All right. So we kind of know where they're going.
We got the top four: the Beatles, Rolling Stones, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin. Now the next four. Only one of these four made my list.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
My mind's just going back to the 80s. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
Def Leppard on there?
No, Def Leppard is not on there, and that's
Okay.
one that did not make the list. I was surprised as
Would
well.
Journey be on there?
Journey did not make the top eight.
I see. I was thinking about
Yeah.
Journey too.
Yeah. Yep, did not make the top eight.
We're obviously missing somebody obvious.
Aerosmith, number 5.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
And-
one of the first albums I had. That in Kansas.
I can I can see Aerosmith in the top 8. I wouldn't have had them at number 5.
Right.
But I can see them in the top 8.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Number 6, Kiss.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I never was a Kiss fan. But
I wasn't
I
either.
can see them making the
Me
list.
neither.
I could
Yeah.
see them making the list, but I was not.
Yeah.
Now, number 7 is one that this was definitely on my list, and I had them a whole lot higher than number 7, and that is Queen.
Didn't think about
Okay.
Queen.
You know,
Yeah.
and if you think about Queen especially, they covered every genre of
Yeah.
rock and roll.
Yeah.
They did.
I mean, from that rockabilly with a crazy little thing called love
Yep.
to We Will Rock You and that anthem rock and just then Bohemian Rhapsody. And
Oh yeah. Yeah. They definitely
the
deserve
list.
it.
Yeah. So
Let
they
me throw out a name for you. List another one. I'm thinking about Van Halen.
did not make the
Oh,
list.
that's
You're
crazy. That's
kidding.
criminal.
Yeah.
So number 8's going to blow your mind.
Okay.
Metallica. I wouldn't have had Metallica in my top 8.
I never was a Metallica fan, but
I wasn't
there's
fan,
a bunch out there.
But I get it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do understand, but they wouldn't have made my top 8.
No.
So I said, I have some questions. Van Halen,
Yeah, Van Halen should be. on
Creedence
there.
Clearwater Revival.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I wrote here, I realize it's a regional thing, but come on, Leonard Skinner,
Yeah.
You know.
That's, yeah.
the Eagles,
Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pink Floyd,
Yeah. How did they not make it?
ZZ Top.
Yeah.
There you go.
What about the Doors?
Oh yeah.
How
Now,
did
now, see,
Doors not make it?
How did we not think of these?
Yeah,
Really.
that's right. So anyway, that was. So speaking of Family Feud, and it was actually it was on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or one of them that I saw this, and I clicked to the next one, and the next one was the best female singers of all time, top 5.
Whitney's got
Whitney
to be
Houston's
one.
on top.
Whitney Houston's number 1.
Got to be top.
Whitney Houston is number 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of all time,
Mm-hmm.
would Adele be on there?
She is not, but she should be.
Okay.
She did not make that list, but I had her on mine.
Celine.
Celine Dion, number 4.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I'm running out of names.
Number 2 and
Quick.
number 5, I definitely could put on my list. Number 3, I would have never put on my list, and it's Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
There's never been
now
any.
my wife would put her up there.
I've never
I'm
enjoyed her
thinking of
singing.
country
I haven't
singers,
either.
so
I haven't
I mean,
either.
I'm sure they're not going to be on the list like Reba or somebody like that.
There is a country singer on the list.
There is?
Yes,
Reba's not on there.
Not
It's
Reba.
not Reba. Dolly?
it is Dolly
Dolly.
Parton,
Okay.
number
All
5.
right.
Yeah,
There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
yeah, Dolly Parton, number 5. Number 2, Aretha Franklin.
Oh,
Okay.
of course.
And
Yeah,
you
she-
know
yeah,
what?
she deserves to be
Yeah,
there.
so-
Yeah. Yep.
So here's my questions though. Patti LaBelle,
Oh yeah.
Etta James,
Oh yeah.
Ella Fitzgerald. I mean, if we're just talking about just popular music
Right. Right.
across the genre, Billie Holiday,
Yeah.
Diana Ross, Stevie freaking Nicks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you not have Stevie Nicks?
Yeah. I don't know.
And then if you're going to throw another country in there, the First Lady, Tammy Wynette.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know. So I just thought those were very interesting
Right.
list. And again, where do they ask those questions? Are they ask them in
Yeah,
a
that's
strip at a strip mall in
Yeah.
Hollywood? Or,
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
I could understand knowing there and knowing Leonard Skinner,
Right,
but
right.
but Van Halen,
Yeah.
ZZ Top.
Yeah.
I mean ZZ Top. Come
It's
on.
more of
Yeah.
isn't ZZ though more of a Texas
Well,
kinda
they're that little
rock?
band from Texas, you know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, but they had
they were
national
they were
presence.
huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's from somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
That's
right.
right.
You're right.
So anyway,
That's interesting.
there are questions that that I think about, and I've often wanted to use them here on the podcast, and so I thought I would use them with you guys today.
Oh, great. Here we go.
When it comes to your life, David, would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button?
Oh, goodness. You want to ask me first? Can't ask Buddy,
Buddy,
first?
would you rather have a rewind button?
Rewind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even if I could pause it, I couldn't fix what I just did
Gotcha.
or what I just said. Yeah, I'd want to rewind.
And I am just the opposite. I want a pause button.
Really?
Because so when I turned 40, my dad called me on my birthday. What's it feel like to be 28? I said, Dad, look, let's you and I be honest with each other, okay? I've been very fortunate to make it this far. Don't send me back to try it again.
Okay.
Because I think I know stuff now, and I will try to do it even worse. I won't escape alive this time, Dad. So, no, I am a firm believer in I am where I am because I've been where I've been, and I am where I am because I'm going where I'm going.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to rewind. I don't want to go back. Now, are there things I wish I could take back? Of course there are. You know,
Right.
something stupid I said to my wife earlier today I wish I hadn't said.
Pause button would have been nice.
Pause
right
button
there,
would have been nice. And I could have just got out of the truck and went in the house, and she could have just thought she dreamed it.
What's that movie with the remote?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
right.
Click or whatever it's called.
Click,
Yeah. Okay. If you could bring back one old TV show, what would it be?
Well, it's hard to say bring back because you can see them on reruns all the
Yes,
time.
you
but
can, yeah.
Andy Griffith Show. Like that one.
Yeah.
Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah.
See, I like the old ones. The old
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I love me some Green Acres. I just did, man. My kids get mad at me. I still sing that song. I'm like, hey, will you stop?
I have two. One is a little more wholesome than the other.
Okay.
The Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I would love
Yeah.
to have the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
man, I'm telling you, Friday night, that was appointment TV when I was
Oh,
a
yeah,
kid.
yeah.
You know, watching the General Lee gonna jump something, Roscoe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it didn't have anything to do with Daisy.
No, not at that age it didn't.
Okay.
A little later it did.
Okay.
A little later it did. But at that age, I was like, okay, you know. And the other one, not as wholesome, would be The Sopranos.
Okay.
I would
Okay.
love,
Yeah.
I would love
Yeah.
for there to be a continuation
Right.
of The Sopranos. That's, you know, it would never be the same without James Gandolfini, of
Right.
course. Although his son did a great job in the movie The Saints of Newark. But yeah, of course, I'm a big mob movie fan anyway. I have
Right.
been since I was a
Yeah.
little bit kid. I don't know. Well, I do know why. I'm not going to say why. But, you know, maybe I saw some of that stuff as a kid.
So I watched, I remember now, I'm bringing back memories now, but you know what a big night for me was Love Boat and Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island.
Fantasy
yeah.
Island, yeah.
Back to back.
Yeah.
So we would watch Dukes of Hazzard on CBS and then flip over to ABC to watch The Love Boat and Fantasy Island.
That's right.
Well, let's say like the past
play.
10 or 15 years, what would be one of your best series?
Man,
And I say that because I mean I know.
I'm
what I'd
embarrassed
say.
to say
Well-
it, but it's Yellowstone for me.
I
know
like-
it's not.
I like
I know
Yellow-
it's not great, but I just
I have not watched
well,
it yet. and I
Taylor
know-
Sheridan,
Yeah,
what do you
want
mean
to.
not great?
I
'Cause
want to.
Taylor Sheridan's stuff is fabulous.
Yeah.
It's all real good.
it just makes you cringe.
You told me you had Yellowstone all on DVR
Yeah, but I
and you just
haven't
hadn't watched
watched
it.
it yet. Yeah.
And I told him, I said, man, it's like The Sopranos, except
It is.
they're cowboys.
That's right.
Yeah.
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 It really is. And I told him about them backing that trailer up to the bar and letting that bull through there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's all I'm going to give away of it.
Yeah,
But, man,
okay.
that
Yeah.
sets the tone, I'll tell you that. I'd say in the last 10, 15, Scandal, I loved.
Okay,
I
yeah,
loved
yeah,
Scandal. And there again, so Taylor Sheridan, who wrote Yellowstone, and he now has the series with Billy Bob Thornton, Landman, which is
Landman.
really
Okay,
good.
I've seen the previews of
good.
that. Look
That's
good.
really
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
So Taylor Sheridan, just about anything he touches
It's gonna be good.
is going to be good. Well, the same thing goes for the lady who wrote Scandal, Shonda Rhimes.
Mm-hmm.
And she not only had Scandal, but Grey's Anatomy,
Okay.
How to Get Away with
Okay.
Murder.
Right, yeah.
And she's, Shonda Rhimes, if Shonda Rhimes is writing it, it's going to be
gonna be
good.
good, yeah.
And, Netflix has hired her away from
really?
ABC. Yeah, they've hired her away, and she's now writing series or specials or movies for Netflix.
Oh, wow.
And so there was one that came out not that long ago, and I watched it, and I was like, yes,
You
that
had
is
her
definitely
fingerprint all over
You
it?
could tell it. Yes, that was definitely hers. But it unlike a John Grisham novel, you don't know how it's going to end.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
poor John Grisham. I love John Grisham, but let me just tell you, I can tell you the ending
You
to
could
his
write
last 11 books.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
They all end the same way. And
What about 24? Did y'all watch that series?
I loved
I
24.
think that'd be my favorite.
I loved
Yeah.
24. And here's the funny part. So, I was friends with Rush Limbaugh, and Rush was a huge fan of 24. Huge fan. And I told him when I finally started, because it was already off the air before I ever started watching it.
Right.
And here's one of my
Which
issues.
is the best way to do it.
It really is, because
Yeah.
you can binge it.
Exactly. Exactly.
But here was one of my issues, and this is, maybe it's just because of my age, I don't know. I have a real hard time with movies that purport technology in there, and they're still using bricks for cell phones,
Right.
or they're still using flip phones.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like the last season or two of 24 that they actually went to an iPhone or a smartphone at least.
Right.
And so that was that's hard for me, and I have to get past that. But I lose interest if I'm watching a show and there's whatever it is, there's some kind of technology that's being used that's paramount to the story.
Right.
And then I see them pull out a flip phone, and it's like 3334444.
Nothing else is believable. Nothing else is believable after
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Right?
I'm just like, no, sorry guys, y'all weren't that far ahead then. No, sorry. So, yeah, I loved 24 was great.
Yeah.
There was another series that Kiefer Sutherland did right after 24, where he had a son who was autistic
what was
or
that?
special. I don't remember
the name of it.
but that kid could he could look at a puzzle
Yeah.
and just solve it.
Right.
Like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm actually listening to, so I listen to a lot of audiobooks for our audience. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and I told them about 3 a week. 153 last year, 150 something the year before. And the one I'm listening to right now is David Baldacci, and it's called The Sixth Man. And basically it's these savants who they can absorb so much information. Their brain is constantly expanding. So, they say we use 10% of ours. I don't know if I use that much of mine. I'm a little on the lazy side.
I spend half my life looking for my car keys or my wallet.
That's right. Exactly. That's right.
So I spend more time wondering why isn't that printer working?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But these guys in this book, they've expanded their mind. They're using 90 and 95%, and of course the whole thing is once they use 100% of their brain, then they shut down.
Right.
And they become catatonic. And anyway,
What
was that
shut
movie?
down.
Lucy?
yeah, Lucy
it
was a
based
show
on the same premise
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
that's exactly right. Exactly right. What is a weird food combination that you like?
That I like.
For me, I'll tell you, Milk Duds and popcorn. I don't
What's
know.
chocolate and salt though?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can see
But
that.
and I'm not a chocolate eater. I don't really care for chocolate. I love caramel, but I don't care much for chocolate. But I think it's that chewy and crunchy, and then like I said, sweet and salty, and maybe buttery.
Yeah.
In other words,
You got a bunch of different contrasting things going on there.
a whole
Yeah, yeah.
bunch of clogged arteries.
Right.
that,
Exactly. Exactly.
Right now, my cardiologist is watching this, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Order that boat, baby."
That's right.
He's coming.
I don't know if it's weird, but I like ketchup on my scrambled eggs.
I've known some people who do.
Yeah. Let's see what else. That I guess.
It's hard for me to eat on the bone fried chicken without ketchup.
Really?
Now, it's hard for me to eat chicken, period. Growing up in East Texas,
Oh yeah.
where you pick up 600, 700, 800 of those every morning,
right.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
dead,
Yeah.
I don't
in
mind
August.
ketchup on my macaroni and cheese at times. I mean, everyone's or barbecue sauce, but barbecue sauce isn't probably.
I've
weird.
never heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of weird.
Well,
I'm gonna have to try it now.
my youngest, His Royal Highness, he's all about ketchup on everything. And if I would let him, he would put it on ice cream. And so, but he does. I've noticed. So in town, who do you think has the best mac and cheese in town?
Ooh.
You'd have to ask my wife. I'm not a big mac and cheese eater. I'm not a pasta eater, really. Mm-hmm. But everywhere we go, like out of town, she's got to try their mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Slim
Popeyes,
chickens,
maybe?
Slim chickens to
Slim's
me.
is
Yeah,
good? Okay.
Slim's
Is it
is
good?
better than Popeyes,
Okay.
and it's close.
Okay.
It's real close.
Wait until Chick-fil-A opens up, though. Their macaroni's good.
I've never had it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So, but my son loves that Slim's mac and cheese. But I'll notice he'll get a couple of them on his fork, and he'll make sure nobody's watching, dipping his ketchup real quick.
See, yeah,
And eat it.
guilty
Yeah.
as charged. I've kind of done that.
Yeah. Okay, you're on death row, and tonight's the night. Okay,
Oh, goodness.
what is your last meal?
Woo! Man, I'm going to have to go with the chicken fried steak and mashed potatoes, real gravy, all kinds of, rolls, bread, whatever. Yeah, I'm going to have to load up on that.
Yeah,
Anything with a saw in it? Would that work? Anything with a saw in it?
a file,
A filet and baked potato.
filet and baked potato. For me, it would be Mama's deer steak, no question. I want rice instead of mashed potatoes.
All right.
I want rice and real gravy, homemade gravy.
Real gravy.
And I want some of those. I want some of those yeast rolls.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to have some.
But fried deer steak definitely is going to be.
Chicken fried deer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. And yeah. What is your quote? I don't trust people who don't like blank. What is that? I don't trust people who don't like Jesus. I don't trust people who don't like dogs. That kind of thing.
I don't trust people that don't like
For me, it's guns.
meat in general.
Meat.
Yeah.
I don't like meat. For me, it's guns. I don't trust people who don't like guns.
No,
I'm not saying you got to shoot them.
Right.
Listen, I'm not one of these guys that goes out there and goes through 500 rounds a year. Okay, I'm not. Much to the chagrin of all of my buddies who are, man, come and go shoot with us. I'm like, first of all, dude, I got a house note due, and y'all are spending a house note's worth of ammo.
Exactly. Yeah.
Secondly, man, I just don't get as much enjoyment. I just want to go out there and make sure I can still hit what I'm aiming at, and I can. And so as long as I can do that, I'm not really that excited about going out and again burning through 300 rounds. It doesn't. But at the same time,
You're not mad at guns.
no. But when people are like, "Oh, I've never touched a gun,"
Right.
I'm sorry, we can't be friends.
Exactly. I bet you don't eat meat too.
That's right. Exactly.
You know what that's called? Hungry.
That's right. Exactly.
That's the old joke. Vegetarian's an old Indian word for bad hunter. And
That's funny.
so my munchkin, she's a senior and she's 18, and she's been saying for years she wanted to be a veterinarian. And she announced probably about a year ago, she said, I'm kind of deciding maybe I don't want to be a veterinarian. And the princess says, well, at least you'll be able to eat meat. Man. But I'm telling you, all of my material for this show could come right out of my own house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the time. But yeah, I don't trust people who don't like guns. That for me, that's the big thing. Again, I'm not saying you have to be a gun nut, but my experience has been, because here's the great little catchphrase or buzz phrase: we need common sense gun legislation. Well, what is common sense gun legislation? Because last time I checked, it was still illegal to kill people.
Right.
It was already illegal to go to a school with a gun.
Right.
That's right.
It was already illegal to shoot up a classroom full of people.
The legislation's there.
It's there.
Yeah,
It's there.
It's there.
So when you say common sense gun legislation, what do you mean? Well, assault style weapons. Well, what do you call an assault style weapon? Because let me tell you, an AR-15 is not an assault weapon.
Right.
There's a reason. There's a reason you wouldn't send soldiers to war with an AR-15. Okay, because they will come back dead. They'll come back in flag draped caskets.
Exactly. Yeah.
So don't tell me about that being an assault style weapon.
Right.
Well, anything with a banana clip. Well, Papa had a 22 with a banana clip.
Exactly.
That doesn't make it an assault weapon.
Right.
And incidentally, again, I go back to, there was no National Rock Association that made rocks okay for Cain to kill Abel.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's the evil in men's hearts.
Yeah.
And now, do we as a society need to do a better job with mental health? 100%.
Yeah, right.
We fail so much on the mental health side in this country. And I think one is the stigma that's attached to mental health. And I think two, just the lack of knowledge. And a lot of times, though, it's who's carrying the message. Right. So, for example, I'm having this discussion with one of my kids the other day. I said, I can see your point. Here's the problem. The only people on your side who are saying that have purple hair and they don't know if they're a boy or a girl And they always have to throw all that other stuff in. If their
Right.
message was this,
Right.
I could say, I may not agree with that, but I get it.
Right.
But it all turns
There's a whole soup there.
in the screamers.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the whole Trump derangement syndrome. It's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
The lady, and I still every now and then I have to go watch it just so I can just chuckle at her, just get a few seconds of chuckles. Well, I went to the liquor store today and I bought this bottle of wine so I can toast Madam President tonight. And evidently the store clerk was like, she's like, well, she's going to win. And he's like, and this is all before the results come out, in 24 with Kamala and Donald Trump. Well, she's going to win. And he's like, I don't know about that. Now she's pissed. She's mad because he won't agree with her.
Right.
There's problem number one.
Yeah.
There's problem number one. Number two, her next video was, what in the F is wrong with you people? And she's screaming. And I can't help but laugh.
And number 3 was the fact she was mad because he wouldn't take the wine back.
My thing is they say, what do you do with leftover wine? What's that?
Yeah.
Leftover
Is
wine.
that a thing?
Is that? I've heard of that. I didn't realize it was a real thing.
Right.
Is that like the tooth fairy? I mean, I'm trying to understand leftover wine. So, but a lot of times it's whomever is carrying the message. And so when you have people who can intelligently speak about mental health in America, unfortunately, they don't portray the part of being able to intelligently speak about mental health.
Right.
And, they throw all the other, like you said, soup. They throw all the other ingredients in there. Mm-hmm. And I think that we need to depoliticize mental health and make it a priority. And I think that, listen, if we can save all this money we're saving by cutting down programs and the tariffs and that income that's coming in, there's money for mental health.
Sure.
And there's a real need for it.
Right.
Again, however, you cannot change the wheel of the human heart.
Right.
And there's a large population of the homeless in America who are mentally unwell. And despite the best efforts of Catholics and Presbyterians and Lutherans all over America who build homeless shelters, and say what you want to about the Catholic Church or whomever, no one has done more for the homeless.
Right.
And they're doing all they can to feed them and clothe them and take care of them. Those people still choose to leave.
Sure.
And so there's nothing you can do to fix that.
Right. It's treating the sign or the symptom instead of going after the cause.
Right. Yeah. Now, I'm not Joe Rogan, okay? I don't believe that we should have psilocybin in the water supply. I don't believe we should, be feeding everyone psychedelics. But at the same time...
Heck, I want them to get the fluoride out. Come on, man. Let's not add anything else.
At the same time, however, I do recognize that there are alternative pharmaceuticals.
Right.
And when used properly, they work. There are way too many soldiers who came back with PTSD
Oh, yeah.
from overseas who went to Central America and went on an ayahuasca trip and come back normal.
Right.
Ron White, the comedian, who, if I asked you, what are his known props when he's on stage?
Whiskey or scotch or bourbon or something.
Scotch and a cigar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ron White has not had a drink in years now. And it was all after going and having this ayahuasca treatment.
I saw that interview.
And it just rewired his brain.
Right.
Wow.
And now, I'm a little more of a conspiracy theorist than to just let people rewire my brain. So, like, my wife would have to go with me and would have to, like, stand there and make sure that nobody's, that I'm not going to start clucking like a chicken.
I couldn't take my wife. She'd make them rewire my brain the way she wants.
That's right.
Yeah. Can you program it?
Next thing you know,
please?
I'd be her BFF.
That's right. That's right.
Girl, let's go shopping. No. Golf, yuck. Who wants to do that? But there are alternative treatments. I'll tell y'all this real quick story, and I may edit this out. I don't know. When I graduated high school, college was not an option for me. Y'all heard me telling you prior to coming on the air, I basically raised myself for about 2.25 years because my dad had moved back to Houston, and he had custody of me, and I was just living there, and I was working at Coca-Cola, and then at Church's Chicken at night, and going to school all day, and college just wasn't an option. But I knew I wanted to do something else.
Right.
I knew I had to do something else because I didn't want to just fry chicken at night and work at Coca-Cola. Actually, I did want to work at Coca-Cola, but I didn't want to be in the warehouse, And that's where I was going to end up if I just did nothing.
Right.
And so, long and short of it was, I decided to go to technical school, and I went to Universal Tech in Houston, Texas, for heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and electrical, and was really surprised. If you go in there and you want to master a craft, they will cater to you. If you go in there and you want to get by, get your little certificate at the end of your year and go on, they'll let you do that too.
Yeah.
But if you go in and you're like, you want to be challenged, they will challenge you. And that was me. I wanted to be challenged.
Right.
And so I graduate. I went to work for a company called Canteen Food and Vending. I was doing all the work on the refrigerated vending machines, and then Coca-Cola called me and said, hey, we want you to come back home and work in our maintenance department. Well, that was an easy decision, so that's what I did. All of that, when I was in school, I had a roommate. His name was Craig Minitry, and it was Craig and his sister and I all lived together. And she was older than the two of us. He was a little older than me. She was a little older than him. And Craig's sister was a stripper. And she had all the assets. And I remember talking to her one day, and I said, Sheila, I don't get it. And she's like, what do you not get? I said, stripper? I said, first of all, you're gorgeous. You're smart. And she was super intelligent. She had a bachelor's degree. Yeah. Super intelligent. Stripping? And she was like, now this is 1990.
Right.
And she says, Sandy, name me another place I can work and make $700 a day. Whew. I was like, well, you know what? I can't think of one. She said something legal that I can make $700 a day. And I was like, okay. She said, I know it's not going to last forever, but for now, right. She said, I put money away. She said, I have a huge nest egg put away. And when it's over, it's over.
Sandy went and bought him some pasties.
You better believe it. And when her brother and I, we graduated together, and we both went to work for Canteen Food and Vending together. And then when I left and went back to Coca-Cola, I had been back in East Texas for a little while, and that's when I come to know Jesus. Mm-hmm. And the first person I went to tell, I drove to Livingston, Texas, or to Cut and Shoot, Texas, at his lake house, and we spent a weekend together, and I just told him what had happened in my life, and man, we had a great weekend. A few weeks later, he calls me and he says, hey, man, I don't really know about how this stuff works, but could you say a prayer for my sister? I was like, yeah, what's going on? She's got cancer. Cervical cancer. Okay. And, every time I talked to him, we talked once, twice a week. But every time I talked to him, I would just ask how she was doing, Man, one day, it was a Friday, and I mean, as sure as I'm sitting here, I felt the Lord tell me, you need to go see them. So I was newly married to my first wife, and I went home and I said, hey, we need to go down to Livingston, Texas. And she's like, okay. And it's about a 2.5 hour trip for us.
Right.
2 hours maybe. Actually, to Onalaska. They'd moved to Onalaska. And I said, we need to go to Onalaska. And she's like, okay. I said, I don't know why. I don't know. I'm just telling you, we need to go. We don't know if they're home. There's no cell phones.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if they're home. We drive down there. I drive right up to their house. I get out and knock on the door, and Craig comes and opens the door. And I was like, he's like, man, what are you doing? I said,
I don't know.
Just want to come see you, And so we go in, and his sister walks in. And this 5'9", previously 135-pound, beautiful, gorgeous girl walks through with no hair. Her skin is gray. If she weighs 75 pounds, it's a miracle. Mm-hmm. And we sit and talk with them. We pray with them. At one point, my wife and Craig were in the kitchen making everybody something to eat or drink. I don't remember what they were doing. It was just Sheila and I sitting there. And she said, Sandy, I've got the blessing of knowing I'm going to die. I said, well, Sheila, we're all going to die. Mm-hmm. She's like, true. But I have a feeling mine's coming sooner than most of everybody else's.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And she said, will you do me a favor? And I said, anything. Will you preach my funeral? I never preached a funeral.
Right.
But I said, yes, I would. And then she said, I've had the opportunity to make things right between me and the Lord, but there's this one thing, and it bothers me. And I was like, okay, what is it? And she said, all the chemo, all the radiation, all the medicine, I can't eat. And she said, but if I smoke just a little marijuana, it'll give me just enough of an appetite. I can maybe eat a Reese's cup, maybe a cup and a half, a Reese's cup and a half. And she said, but I don't want to disappoint the Lord. Now, I've never thought about this up to this point, right? But man, just as Jesus told his disciples, don't worry about what you're going to say in that moment, for
Right.
the Holy Spirit will give you those words.
He put the words on your tongue.
And I said, Sheila, the Bible says that there's nothing made that was not made by him, and that everything that was made by him. And I said, when the Bible says something twice back to back, you really pay attention to it, you know.
Write it down.
And I said, could it be that plant was put here by God? And she's like, well, I think so. I said, was sugar cane put here by God? She's like, yeah. I said, exactly. But we as gluttonous human beings, we've changed it, we've
Right.
refined it, we've done all these things to it, maybe using it in a way it wasn't intended to be used.
Right.
I said, do you think cows were put here by God? She's like, of course. I said, yeah. But again, we as gluttonous human beings,
Right.
we want to fatten them up, and we want that, we want the extra marbling, and probably using the cows in ways that God didn't really intend on us to use them initially. I said, could it be that we as gluttonous human beings have changed the use of marijuana? Could it be that the Lord put that here just for that purpose? And she's like, I've never thought about that. And I said, well, we know it was him. We know he's the one who put it here. And I'm just going to tell you, if there's a blessing in it, take the blessing.
Right. Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, she passed. And I went back down there to preach her funeral, and her dad, who was a rough old West Texas cowboy, man. I mean, he's a great guy. Loved him. Ray walks over and he wraps his arm around me, and he said, she told me what you told her about the marijuana. And he said, Sandy, I don't know a whole lot about the Bible. I don't know a whole lot about God. And he said, and that's my fault. He said, but I know this. You were speaking straight from his throne to her.
Wow.
He said, because she lived her last 2 weeks with zero guilt and condemnation. He said there was a light in her eyes that had not been there in months. And he said, thank you. Wow. And I was like, man, it wasn't me. you know?
Right,
And
right.
he's like, yeah, but you were
drove
there.
You drove the 2 hours.
That's right. So I said all of that to say, again, I may edit all of that out. I don't know. But I said all of that to say there are alternative pharmaceuticals that I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I am a conspiracy theorist.
Right.
I do like to listen to some conspiracies because sometimes there is a little bit of nugget in them.
Yeah.
I think that there are some pharmaceuticals that we don't utilize today because of the stigma that's been attached to them, because it would be harmful to big pharma.
Oh, no, I'm with you on that.
And,
Yep. It's a money game.
there is no reason in my mind, zero, that if a person's only charge is marijuana, that they should be in prison today. I don't care if they had 75 kilos of it.
Right.
If it's marijuana, they should not be in prison
If you're
today.
driving after that, that's a different story.
That's a different story.
Right.
And if you pulled them over and they had 3 kidnapped children in the bottom of the boat, or a bunch of illegal guns, I get it. But if their only charge is possession with intent, I have a hard time seeing why those people are in prison today. That's me. And I realize that I may be in the minority on that. But I just think that there are alternatives to the way we approach life. And sometimes those alternatives may make us feel a little uncomfortable with what we've been taught.
Right. No.
I don't believe crack. I don't think there's a medicinal use for crack.
Medicinal use for crack.
I don't think there's a medicinal use for bathtub meth. Okay.
Right.
Now there are things that are classified as methamphetamine that are pharmaceutical grade that are used, but
Right.
don't forget it was also our government who used MK Ultra to try to make super warriors.
Exactly.
And we want to point to point our finger at Hitler for his genetic engineering, trying to engineer the perfect Aryan race. Well, we were trying to do the same thing.
You just don't hear about it.
That's
most
right.
Of the time.
That's right. We don't talk about ours. Now, at the same time, we weren't exterminating Jews.
Right.
But but we were trying to make a superior armed forces as well, and we did a lot of bad things to people, and then left them.
Right.
And what has happened to the Vietnam veteran in America is shameful.
It is shameful.
It is 100% shameful. And unfortunately, for a lot of those people, there's a judgment day. There's a reckoning that those people will have to answer for. And there's a lot of people going to have to answer for a whole lot of lies that were told in that 20 years we spent in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Right. Yep.
And, I've always said God's not anti-war. God is anti-losing wars. What he used to tell them, especially that Old Testament God, you check in on him.
That get pretty rough.
Check in on him, because what he would tell them is he would say, I want you to go in, I want you to kill all of them. And when I say all of them, I mean the women,
Everybody.
the children, the old, the sheep, the goats. I want all of them dead. And when they didn't, he's like, then why do I hear sheep,
Right.
the bleating of sheep in my ears?
Right.
They're like, oh yeah, we did what you said, Lord. And he's like,
No, you didn't.
this morning y'all had 11 sheep. Now you got 23. You want to explain that to me? You want to help me understand that?
Right.
So, but war for the sake of fighting off tyranny, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm with that. War for the sake of the wheels of commerce, wrong.
Right.
Absolutely wrong. And the Gulf of Tonkin and that false flag we did to get LBJ and into the to buy into Vietnam, and then what we did over there, we handcuffed those guys.
Yep.
We were so afraid to offend China and Russia that we wouldn't let those guys fight to win.
Right.
And then when they did do something that they gave us an advantage, they were punished for it. And then they came home and they were spit on and they were
Right.
mocked and they were beat up and then neglected.
Oh yeah. Still.
And still
to this
day,
yeah.
still neglected. That's a horrible, horrible way to treat those people who went over and gave the best parts of their lives.
Signed a blank check.
Yes, they did.
Yep.
And it's funny you say that, because there's a friend of mine who he was in the Air Force, and people say, thank you for your service. And he said, I used to tell people, man, look, dude, I was refueling planes at Barksdale, okay? He's like, there wasn't a whole lot of chance of anything going down that was going to get me, okay?
Right.
He said, now, some knucklehead might set some jet fuel on fire, but for the most part, I was
Yeah, I
safe.
did
And
okay.
but he said this older service member told him one day, he said, no, son, you don't understand. He said, the day you signed those papers at that recruitment office, you signed a blank check. You didn't know where you were going.
Right.
You didn't know what you were doing.
Yep, that's true.
And said, at any point, they could have said, all right, Wilson, come on, you're going to Afghanistan.
Right.
And he said, and you would have went. He's like,
Right.
yes, sir. He said, thank you for your service.
Right.
So,
Good way to look at it.
blank
Yeah.
check.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he was ever able to hide an iguana inside of a submarine
I
tube.
have no idea what you're talking about.
I know you don't.
It wasn't a submarine tube.
That is one of my favorite all-time Buddy Hall stories. And I don't remember if it happened at Guantanamo or where, but
It happened at Gitmo.
It
sure
was,
did.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
someone, I'm not going to say any names, but someone took a reptile from Cuba and hid it on a U.S. naval vessel.
Exactly. In the bilge. Yeah. Yeah. And you can edit this out, but I'll tell the story real shortly. I had a friend of mine, Tony Rivera, who said, "Man," he said, "I got a cousin in New York," because we'd walk past. We were in Gitmo, but we'd walk past walking onto the base was probably about a mile walk. There's this big iguana always sit up on this rock, and we were down there for about 3 months. When we were getting ready to come back to the States, he said, "Man, I got a cousin in New York." He said, "If we bring him that iguana," he said, "those things go for about $10,000 on the black market." And I said, "We're gonna bring him that iguana."
You better believe it.
Absolutely.
And if I can find a second one, we'll take him too.
That's right. That's right. So I got some welding gloves, and we had all kind of boxes up stacked up on the pier because we'd loading the ship, And And so I got some welding gloves, and we got that iguana. And we taped him down with some electrical tape and put him, I emptied out a bunch of cereal boxes. I remember what it was. We put him in that box, and I walked on the ship with him, like, and we stuck him down in the bilge, and those bilges had big tubes that come up 4 or 5 decks, and, you'd screw the top off of it and gauge it. And if it, you had a list. If it's supposed to be dry, it needs to be dry. If it's supposed to have 4 foot of water in it for ballast, it should. So we put him in a dry one. And that's how we were feeding him for a couple of days. We'd drop carrots down that tube, and all kind of stuff. Well, one night about midnight, the general quarters went off, and you hear flooding in compartment. They listed off that compartment, and I knew where it was. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what's going on? Well, Tony met me and said, man, he said, I clogged the tube.
Oh no.
And I was like, what? And I clogged the tube. I tried to wash it out. So what had happened, whoever was on watch saw it was supposed to be a dry void, gauged it, and it showed about 6 foot of water. It's because the tube was blocked. Tony had tried to flush it out, so water sitting in the tube. So you go through general quarters, and there's a whole thing you got to do because you think you're flooding.
Yeah, you think ship's going to sink.
And I was over the damage control team that had to take care of that, and I knew what was in there. So we're down there, and so there's a big coffer down there in the bilge. You have to take it off nut by nut and watch for water to spray. I knew there wasn't going to be water coming out. And so we get it off, and the XO is down there, and he's saying, what in the world is going on? And I knew what was going on, but I've got an investigator. I've got to send in there with a flashlight because when you open those up, you have to take an inventory. And so I'm sending him in there with an iguana, and I can't tell him.
Yeah.
So he crawls in there, and there's not much room when you're crawling all through those things.
Gosh.
So he's hollering. He's got a mask on, and he's hollering back because we got to take inventory. 8-inch pipe wrench, guys, 8-inch pipe wrench. Rags, and then all of a sudden you hear somebody sound like they're banging on pots and pans, and he yells, "Iguana, iguana!" And by the time he got back out, he was cut up, bruised up, and his mask was pulled off his face. Well, anyway, what we didn't realize was we had violated some national treaty as far as taking animals from Cuba.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. And so we had to anchor out where we were. They flew NCIS on board.
No.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm sure the statute of limitations is over by now.
Yes.
That was in 86.
That's right.
They stayed on board for 3 days. And they said, we are not leaving the ship until we find out who brought that iguana on. And there was about 4 of us in together. So, man, we were huddled in the room, man, nobody, you cannot break.
Deny.
Yeah, exactly. And so after about 3 days, and everybody on that ship, 340-something people, had gone through, I bet you, 4 different interviews.
Oh, my gosh.
Over 3 days. And finally, we're sitting there, and we hear the helicopter leave, and they left. Never found out what happened. But we had to take the iguana back. But a picture of that iguana did make the Navy Times. So I did it really? It sure did.
I love it.
I know it's way too long, but
no, I love it. And if you want me to, I'll edit it out. But it's a great story.
No. I mean, it's statute of limitations.
Surely.
Surely it is. Maybe we should contact the lawyer first.
Well, here's what we'll say is for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, that was
There you go.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
That was an alleged story.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly, I was involved.
We
do
don't
that.
know for sure it was an iguana. Maybe it was,
And maybe it wasn't Gitmo. Maybe it was Key West.
New Jersey.
Exactly. So, all right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we have more of Off the Back Porch right after this. Serving South Arkansas for 25 years, and all the while expanding and growing throughout the state, ProMed Ambulance is proving their motto of world-class care and hometown values. For example, their new mobile integrated healthcare communications center. This state-of-the-art facility allows communication specialists to work directly with local 911 call centers to ensure the closest medical team is always dispatched to any emergency. World-class care and hometown values. For more information and career opportunities, go to ProMedAmbulance.com.
With a name you trust, you can count on us. Glen Mechanical, plumbing, heating, and air.
For over 6 decades, Glen Mechanical has been specializing in HVAC, plumbing, and all mechanical jobs. 3 generations, family-owned and operated since 1956. Glen Mechanical's business is based on relationships. They support and give back to the communities they work in. Contact them for all of your HVAC, plumbing, and mechanical needs. GlenMechanical.com.
For longer than most of us can remember, Timber Lane Meat Market has been a staple of our community, where quality meats and friendly faces come standard. From everyday dinners to weekend cookouts, make it fresh, make it local, make it Timber Lane. Be sure to check out the daily lunch specials and like us on Facebook. Timber Lane Meat Market, 1336 West Hillsboro in El Dorado. Proud to be part of South Arkansas, and even more proud to be displayed on your table. Hey, and welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer. And again, Boomer not here this week or next. And so it takes two people to make up one Boomer. And David Lee from the Boys and Girls Club of El Dorado, and Buddy Hall, who is my personal bodyguard and golf caddy.
You don't have too many people after you if I'm your bodyguard.
Well, here's the thing, buddy. You've got your bluff in on them. You know, I mean, look at the size of your hands.
Is it the ugly? Is that what it is?
You and Mike Poore, y'all both have those big gorilla palms, and I'm just like, now that's not as big as I've seen his hand. We went on a golf trip one time.
I forgot about that.
We went on a golf trip, and I mean, barely. It was the first day.
Oh yeah,
Hot Springs Country Club.
Yeah.
We're going to tee off that first day, and all of a sudden, Buddy says, "Man, something's wrong with my hand," and his hand was swole up.
It was huge.
It was.
I had a reaction to the glove for some reason. Had never had a reaction before.
To the glove.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know.
And
I think Sandy sprayed something on it because
He did. I think he did.
I was on the
Sabotage.
team against him. You know.
no, not even close. But he ended up having to play golf, well, like basically one-handed. Just the other hand was just kind of there, you know.
Didn't hurt my game. You know, I didn't. You know, my game was bad enough.
Didn't notice it at all.
Yeah,
huh?
I didn't notice it at all.
Well, how about a Florida man?
All right.
All right.
Okay.
And so for those of you who don't know, you can basically, one of the greatest games Google has ever had has been Florida Man. Just go type in Florida Man and any date, month and day you want to, and there is a crazy Florida story that happened on that date at some point in history. I don't even remember the date I typed in on this one, but Lake County, Florida. A 37-year-old Florida man is facing multiple charges after attempting to test drive a riding lawnmower to his job, insisting it was a field efficiency evaluation. According to deputies, Chester Chet Drummond allegedly took the mower from a Home Depot parking lot around 7:45 a.m., telling store employees he was thinking about buying one and wanted to test drive it. Then slowly drove to the highway wearing an orange safety vest and holding a 32-ounce to-go coffee. When officers caught up with him several miles later, he refused to stop, claiming the mower was street legal because it had a cup holder and headlights.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with that story, honestly. Like, right?
The slow speed pursuit lasted 47 minutes, during which Chet reportedly waved at passing cars. One officer said, like the governor in a parade. When finally pulling over near a Dunkin' Donuts, Chet told deputies he only took the mower because his car had been repossessed, his bicycle had a flat, and he wasn't about to walk to work in this humidity. He later asked officers if they could at least give him a ride to work. They declined.
Yeah, they gave him a ride. They gave ride somewhere.
But it wasn't to work.
Oh, my gosh.
The arrest report notes the mower has been placed back in Home Depot's garden section, quote, with a tank full of gas and approximately 1.3 miles of wear.
Everybody wins. That's right.
It is now officially used.
That's right.
How did that chase last 47 minutes?
You know,
were the cops were they at push mowers? Did they have push mowers or what? I mean,
well, they're in Florida.
Okay.
They're not in Little Rock. I can promise you that.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you about. You want to do a case of FAFO? Go to Little Rock and run from the police and just see what happens. The Arkansas State Police will maneuver you in a wheelchair. They don't care. They do not care.
I'd like to see a pit maneuver on a lawnmower.
Yeah, man, can you imagine just watching body parts fly across the sky? You know, because sometimes when they do those pit moves on vehicles, like I said again, Arkansas State Police, man, they
don't play.
They've got it down to a craft.
Yeah.
Georgia too. Georgia's another one. Georgia will spin you out in a heartbeat. But man, sometimes you'll see stuff flying out of those cars. Like, what was that? You know, I hope that wasn't somebody. It was too big for a child, but it could have been a puppy. So, you know, funny. My kids, especially the younger ones. They don't know me. They don't know that I'm a clown, and I will say things just for the shock factor. You know, so I was scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, one of them, and there was an ad from PETA, and it had a picture of an elk and a cow and a chicken and a pig and a puppy and a cat and a hamster and a toucan or something. I don't remember. And there was a line drawn between the puppy and the pig. And it said, when does one become food and the other become pets? 9-year-old standing there with me. I said, they don't know me. I'll eat that puppy. I will eat that puppy. They don't know me.
Little bit of Larry seasoned salt.
Listen, some Tony Sacheries. First, you got to make a roux.
Put a crack on it, dude.
That's money. While we wait, we hydrate.
That's right.
They talking to the wrong person.
I will eat that puppy and have that cat as an appetizer. Don't think I won't. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff.
That's hilarious.
So when I'm dead and gone, and those of you out there in our audience, you see my children, and they're like walking around town just singing to themselves, swing low, sweet. You'll know why. It was all Dad. I did it. Well, a North Carolina woman says she and her husband will finally be able to take the honeymoon that they've never been able to take after 31 years of marriage, thanks to a $1 million lottery prize.
Okay.
Goodness.
Holly Springs, North Carolina resident Cheryl Bach said she bought a $10 million spectacular scratch-off ticket from some store on Village Walk Drive in Holly Springs, North Carolina, and was shocked to uncover a $1 million prize. Quote, I had to put my glasses on to make sure I was seeing it right, Bach said. She then called her husband to share the good news. He didn't believe me. I had to take a picture of it and show it to him. Bach, who's been married for 31 years, said the prize money will allow the couple to celebrate their long-delayed milestone. We're going to take a vacation, just my husband and me, that will finally be our honeymoon. I just haven't decided where we're going yet.
Go just about anywhere you want to.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
So let me ask you this. David, if you won $1 million today,
Man. Okay.
okay, now let's say taxes are already out of it. You got $1
That's
million.
my money right there. Okay,
You got
got
$1
it.
million, your money.
Yep.
What are you doing with it?
Man, I play this game all the time.
Yeah?
I never play it. So you got to win the lottery. You got to play it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would. I'd probably build. I'd have land and I'd build a family compound.
Yeah.
For whoever wanted to join us, right? Okay, you can have this acreage. You can have this acreage, and we'd be in the center, and a big family compound.
$1 million, though, won't build a whole lot. I mean, not when you're talking about multiple homes.
Yeah.
But because you're like me, you got too many kids.
Oh,
you
man.
know?
Yeah,
So,
right.
I mean, that's my thing. I'm like you. I'd love to have a family compound, but I may just have to build one barn-dominium with
One
wings.
barn. Yeah, there you go. Something like that.
Hey, what are you doing out of your wing? Get back over there.
That's right.
Get back in your cage.
Family apartment with
That's right. Yeah, something like that. Right.
Yeah.
Something like that.
How about you, buddy? You win $1 million.
Like I say, it's not much nowadays.
It
now,
really-
when you don't have anything like I do, it's a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That's right.
Yeah,
Anyways.
I was over there arm wrestling for a nickel we saw laying on the pavement a while ago. So,
Well, we got $3 and a granddaughter, so
Yeah.
probably
some trust.
some trust. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they would have it down the road a little bit.
Look at y'all being all responsible.
No,
so
I'm not.
just being,
That's what I say. That's what I say. I'm kind of like that guy said, I won't say anything publicly, but there will be signs.
Sandy's
tell
talking
my
about
staff
$1 million
that all the
scratch-off
time.
tickets. I did it once. I can do
Do
it
it again. That's right.
I tell my staff all the time, if I ever win the lottery, you'll never know, but there will be signs.
There will
Yeah,
be
there will
signs.
be
There will be
signs.
signs.
That's right.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden, we won't be getting that Piggly Wiggly brand bread at the house. We're going to get Mrs. Baird's the way the Lord intended.
That's right.
Blue Bunny, no, we're going to get Blue Bell. We can afford the good stuff. You know?
That's right. That's right.
No more beige bunny.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. That's like when COVID come along and everyone's like, I don't know if we've ever faced anything like this before. I said, do y'all not remember them 7 months with no blueberry? Because I do.
That's right.
Man, that was 7 of the hardest
I'm
months of my
prepped for
life.
this. I'm prepped for this.
That's right.
Man. No, $1 million. I'd probably put it on my bills as far as it go and trust God for the rest.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what a pastor of mine used to say. He said, "Man," he said, if I won $1 million, I'd put it on my bills as far as I go and just trust God for the rest of it, brother. That's what I. But
You buy a brand new truck, that's a tenth of it right there.
yeah,
You can't get that
absolutely,
truck for-
absolutely.
Yep.
I
I
mean,
mean, my gosh.
not if you're going to buy what you want to buy.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that's the whole thing. I mean, me, if that's the case, then I'm going to want at least a 3/4 ton Chevrolet, probably with a diesel engine, and you're looking at $97,000 to $105,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was at a
That's a
dealership
house.
the other
That's
day.
a house. That's
they
a
had
house.
a Bronco.
Yeah.
98,000. I said, what do they do? Take out a 30-year mortgage on this thing?
Yeah.
How do you do with that, man? I don't
Look
get
at
it.
Sonia and I. When we moved from Norfolk to El Dorado, that was a house. That was a house back then. $100,000.
Yes.
I mean,
That's more than I paid for mine.
yeah, absolutely.
That's more than I paid for my house. Yeah. Man.
crazy.
And you know what else? I've been living there now for 19 years.
Wow.
I'm on the downhill slide on the mortgage.
Yeah,
Wow,
you're
yeah,
already past
yeah.
the top of the hill.
Yeah, I'm paying off principal now.
Yeah, that feels a little bit better. Doesn't it?
Every month, I don't mind giving them that money at all, nearly
right.
as much now because
That's
I'm
right.
paying off principal now.
There you go.
And as y'all know, and of course a lot of our audience knows, that we were out of our home for 53 weeks back when the snowpocalypse came through, and basically we rebuilt the entire inside of my home, and we'd been there for maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and my good friend Bruce Woolsey, superstar Bruce Woolsey, shows up at my office one day and says, "Hey, bro, let me see your house," and I'm like, "No, man, I just moved back in. It's brand new." And he's like, "Yeah, I know." He said, "I can get you this," which is 3 times what I paid for it. He said, "I can get you this amount, cash offer, 30-day close, no contingencies, by tonight."
Got you thinking now.
I went home. I was telling my lovely wife, I was like, "Superstar said," and she's like, "And you didn't take him up on it?" I said, "Where are we going to live?" I said, "Because let me tell you something. If this house goes for that much,
Oh yeah.
then the house we want is going to
Right,
go for
right.
3 times that amount, you know?" So, like, no. It's like, I drive an 06 GMC pickup that I got. I got it in 2016. It was 10 years old, had 31,000 miles on it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and from a neighbor of yours. And, I mean, literally right there. But older gentleman sold it to me. And this guy comes up in the office one day and says, "Hey, who drives that GMC out there?" I said, "It's mine." Now, I think I bought that truck for like 10 grand. So nothing.
Right,
Nothing.
right.
And he said, "I'll give you 18 for it." I was like, "No, it's okay." 20. How many miles I got on it? And I think then I still had under 40,000
Yeah,
miles. I was like,
it's just getting broke
it's
in.
not 40,000 miles. He said, 24, and I won't even test drive it.
And you said no?
And I said no. It's still sitting outside. But again, I went home. I was telling my wife, and she's like, "Wow." And I was like, "But here's my thing. I'd take that 24,000 and have to borrow another 25 or 30,000
Yeah.
just to get something I would feel comfortable with."
Right.
She, bless her heart, when I met her, she had an 08 F-150. This thing was a land yacht. It was a tank. It was heavy. Had that V10 Triton engine in it. Big old heavy truck.
Could drive through a tornado.
Yes, could. And she had about 230-something thousand miles on it. And she's coming down Mount Holly one day, and she has to stop. There's a young man stopped in front of her, and he's going to turn left into the Rainbow Food Mart. And so she stopped waiting on him, and his school teacher hits her from behind. I mean, just plows her. Well, she ends up hitting the truck in front of her. Bends the frame rails. Bends the frame rails in the back. Her truck's a total. Okay. At that time, it's 10 years old, and again, 40,000 miles on it. She calls me a couple days later in the middle of the day. She says, "Hey, State Farm just called me and offered me this much for my truck. What do I do?" I said, "Call them back and take it before they realize it was a mistake." Because I had told her originally, she's like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "Just looking at the Kelly Blue Book. I mean, if we get 4,500, $5,000, she's like, "Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking."
Yeah.
I said, "We ought to be really, really happy, but be prepared for them to start off offering you a lot less than that." Well, they offered like 3 times that.
Goodness gracious.
And, well, it just so happened because guess who had all the receipts for shocks and brakes and tires and rotations and oil changes?
So you got to add all that back on.
And I had all those receipts.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
But here was my dilemma. So, yeah, we didn't have a note, so there was nothing to pay off. So now she has this good amount of money, but I still can't take that $15,000 and go buy something that I knew as well as I knew her truck.
Right.
Because, again, every oil change, every
yeah.
brake
Yeah.
job,
Yep.
every shock, I did all that.
Right.
You know, I knew those things had been taken. I don't want to go buy someone else's problem.
Exactly.
And we ended up finding her a fabulous deal on a great vehicle, and she's got it still to this day. But it's one of those things that, I got the new truck itch a couple of years ago, and I was making enough money where a new vehicle could have been a possibility until I looked at the prices, and then I was like, "Thank you, General Motors. You have cured that. You have cured
that
me.
itch is gone."
Yeah, that bug has been removed because even then, and this was prior to COVID, I think. I mean, what I wanted, and again, if I'm going to buy a brand new vehicle, I'm going to get what I want.
Right.
What I wanted at that point was $60,000, and that's probably, like I said, about $100-something grand now.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so
It'd have to come with a toilet in the kitchen for me.
I'm gonna have to live in it.
That's what I'm saying.
or a big enough trailer hitch I can haul my house around with it because
That's right.
something's got to give, man. Yeah. Talking about doing the responsible thing with money, I did. I did set up some trusts for my kids, and we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to be much. I hope they're not planning on retiring. I hope they're not planning on retiring with it. But
set some trust with a little T.
yeah, trust with a little T. Exactly right. Exactly right. So, let's see, guys. I guess let's take a break and we'll come back. And are y'all familiar with this guy in Lonoke County here in Arkansas who's going to run for sheriff?
Yeah. Yes.
We'll talk about that.
All right.
We'll have got that coming up after this on Off the Back Porch.
Bad things happen, and of course, they never happen at the right time. Maybe it's just a little bump and cosmetic damage, or it's turned into a huge insurance claim, and you just don't know where to go next. That's why so many of your neighbors and friends call on Cook's Body Shop in El Dorado. From the minor to the major, Cook's Body Shop is in your corner. Need someone to help you deal with insurance? Look to Cook's. Need advice on what to do next? Look to Cook's. Need a free estimate? Look to Cook's. Bad things are going to happen, and when they do, look to Cook's.
Spice up your tailgate with locally raised farm fresh products at Davis Farms Country Market, like the new Code 3 and Davis Double D Farm Salsa, fresh from the field in locally grown purple hull peas, super sweet vine ripened cantaloupes, Arkansas made meals that are easy on your wallet and your time. And nothing says fall has arrived like mums and pumpkins. There are plenty to choose from at Davis Farms Country Market, 4523 Junction City Highway, or call 870-639-1323.
Fitting a buck to hang on the wall rarely happens by accident. It starts with preparation, takes some skill, and often even a little luck. Country Village Sporting Goods is your headquarters for all three. Right now, check out a brand new shipment of feeders, so new that they're still pulling them out of the boxes. A huge selection of lacrosse boots and plenty of warm weather camo for that early season hunt. And of course, bow hunters can't go wrong with the sales and service at Country Village Sporting Goods, 965 Smackover Highway in El Dorado.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer, Sans the Boomer, and along with Buddy Hall and David Lee. And here we are, guys, at one of our favorite places, and that's Main Street Pizza.
Yes, sir.
And
Best pizza in town.
And by the way, just for those of you who are concerned, for about a week now, they haven't had the good ice. Mm-hmm. And it's because the ice machine was broke down.
Right.
Well, Donnie told me a while ago, this just between us girls, okay? Donnie told me a while ago he just got it working again.
Well, listen, where I'm sitting.
Breaking news right
I've
here.
watched him work on it for the past 45 minutes. I was wondering if he's going to get it done from some of the looks on his face.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was smiling that last time
right.
he walked out.
Yeah, he said it's
done?
not enough to fill your cup up yet,
Okay.
but it's making
All right,
ice.
there we
Breaking
go.
news.
Yeah,
there we
news.
go.
Up
So
there.
they've got the good ice back.
You heard it here first.
That's
Give me a
right.
whole pizza and a little bit of ice. I'm still good.
Man, yeah. Yeah, again, what I say every week when we talk about my favorite thing is the fact that this pizza is consistent.
Yep.
I have never had a moment where I come like, that pizza just wasn't as good as it was last time. That's
Right.
never happened to me here.
Yeah.
And obviously I didn't get this size by being picky about what I eat.
But you like what you eat.
That's
though,
right. That's right.
Yeah.
But so obviously I've tried pizza everywhere in the county, and there's other good pizza. Don't get me wrong, but there's some places where if they, depending on who's there and how fast the chain's moving through their little oven, whether they got to run it through a time and a half
Right,
and stuff.
right,
I don't want to do all that. I want to come pick my pizza up and I want it to be right.
Right.
It's that simple.
Absolutely.
Wonder
And
what
I'm a
old
crust guy.
Portney would
Yeah.
score the pizza here. Isn't that his name?
Yeah.
I like watching that
Yeah,
guy.
7-3.
He's a crust guy too.
Yeah, he's a crust
Yeah,
guy.
so I think they'd get a
Got to
high
be a little
score.
crunchy for him, right? He kind of likes a little bit crunchy.
Yeah, that's the way it is here.
Yeah,
I
he
love
wants
it.
that. He likes that New York style pizza,
Yeah.
and that's basically what the pizza
right,
is
right,
here.
right.
It has that New York style crunch, and that cracker crust, and yeah. So I'm like you. I don't know what, but most time doesn't he just get like plain cheese pizza?
Cheese pizza?
Yeah, just cheese pizza.
Yeah, I'm out.
And he
on
always
that.
says one bite, though. You know the rules. One
But
bite.
that's
And he
kinda
takes 10 bites.
Yeah, he
So I
does.
don't understand that.
Yeah, I think it's just
He owns Barstool Sports.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
he can do that.
He can do that.
Yeah. It's kind of like Trump. Donald Trump can do a whole lot of things. You know why? Because he just can.
Because he just can.
Because he's the president of the United States.
Right,
That's why.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
and I think every now and then that should be a good excuse.
No argument for me.
You grew up your entire life with your mom and daddy saying, because I said so. Right. All right. Well, there's nothing wrong with the president looking at you saying, because I'm the president.
Because I'm the president.
That's
yeah.
why.
Yeah, that's right.
So before the break, I mentioned it. There's a man in Carlisle, which is Lonoke County here in Arkansas, who has been charged with murder and has now announced he is running for sheriff of Lonoke County. And so the guy's name, and I'm trying to, Aaron Spencer, 36-year-old Aaron Spencer. So when his daughter was 13, she evidently was stalked on the internet and then somehow or another was assaulted by a 60-something-year-old man.
Right.
That man was subsequently arrested and had a trial coming up. Well, the only witness in the trial is the girl.
Right.
Mr. Spencer and his wife are in bed one night, laying there asleep, and their dog just goes to making this racket. And if you have dogs, when it's different, the sound they're making is different than what you're used to. It's not just a raccoon walking across the yard. It's not, just a possum. Something's up.
Yeah.
And he heard it, and his first instinct was to go check on his daughter. He opens her door and finds she's missing. When I think the window was open, he calls 911. They're miles from anyone who can show up. He jumps in his truck and takes off, and he's just driving road. He knows they can't be that far in front of him.
Right.
And he hangs up with 911, and he's still going along. Evidently, he spots the man's truck, and he sees his daughter sitting in the passenger seat. He runs up, and he rams the truck and pushes it off the road. And he gets out. Mr. Spencer gets out with a gun, as well he should have.
Absolutely.
I would have.
Yep.
I'm actually arrogant enough to think I'm a good enough shot. I wouldn't have had to ram your truck. I'd have probably shot you while you were driving if I didn't think it'd kill my kid.
Yeah.
But he gets out with a gun. This man, Fosler was his last name, who had kidnapped his daughter. He's telling him, get out of the truck. He says, I see my daughter trying to get out the passenger side, and this man grabs her.
Right.
Don't really know what happened there, except Mr. Fosler then gets out of the truck and says F you to Mr. Spencer and lunges at him. And when he does, Mr. Spencer unloads a clip on him, hitting him in the arms, the shoulders, the abdomen, the legs, hit him basically everywhere there was to hit him with bullets. Then jumped on top of him and pistol whipped him.
As a dad with 3 daughters, where's the problem?
I've yet to see an issue. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is the same gentleman that stalked her on the internet,
Yes.
right?
This is the same guy who's got charges, of trial coming up. Anyway, the cops are on their way out to his house. They get a call and say, never mind that. He's killed the man, and they're at this intersection.
Right.
Cops show up, and they arrest him. There may be a whole lot more to this story than what I know, but the Arkansas Supreme Court has now lifted the gag order, and I've read all of the affidavits that are available.
Right.
It may not be all of them that they're in the case file, but I've read all that were available,
Right.
and I've yet to find a crime. This is me.
Right.
God have mercy. First of all, I'd have never called him to tell him that I found you, that I found you with my kid.
Right.
Okay? I don't know what happened to him.
He shot himself
Just tomorrow.
15 times.
Just tomorrow, don't check me down at Felsenthal.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But he was originally charged with capital murder,
I don't understand
which
that.
would bring the death penalty in Arkansas. Prosecutors then turned around and said, okay, not capital murder, but we're going to just charge him with second-degree murder. So we'll just send him in prison for life. And then once the story started getting out, well, prosecution was really upset, and they went to the judge and said, hey, we want a gag order.
Of course you do.
And the judge gave him a gag order.
Oh, my.
And then the Arkansas Supreme Court said,
good.
You don't get to do that.
Right.
And so now the story's all coming out. And there are a whole lot of people who are just like us who are like, help me understand the crime here.
Well, and here's the thing. You said we don't know the whole story, but to be honest with you, you look at that, there doesn't have to be much
There doesn't have to be much more story to it.
Exactly. It's going to end up the same way.
Even if his daughter willfully ran off with the guy,
I don't care.
She's 14.
That's exactly right.
She's not capable of making that decision.
That's exactly right.
And you're 67 or whatever he was. 67 years old. This responsibility is all on you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
100% it's on you.
I agree.
And you're going to die of lead poisoning. It's just that simple.
It'd be like Mr. T, I pity the fool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And,
It'd just be instinct as a dad.
That's my whole thing is it's
that's
instinct.
what I'm saying.
It's
Yeah.
not. There's no premeditation to that.
No.
It is.
No.
And if I do happen to pull up on them and I'm looking for him, he's got my kid, and I don't have my pistol, which don't worry.
That scenario's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's a very rare, very, very rare occasion.
Right.
That I'm not within reach of one just about any time of the day. But then I'm coming out with a tire iron,
Something.
or I'm going to rip the radio out of my truck, or take my gear shift knob off, something. I'm going to beat you to death.
Exactly.
Or you're going to kill me.
Right.
One of the two.
Right.
But I'm not going to leave this world knowing I just let you drive off with my
Right.
kid.
Yep.
Not going to happen.
And he was keeping her from leaving the truck.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the key, right?
Right.
I
Yes.
mean, like, come on, man.
Yep.
That probably would be that's protection. You're protecting
yeah,
your daughter
absolutely.
in that
That's-
part.
yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough you're kidnapping her and putting her in truck, but when you catch up with him and then she's trying to get out and he's keeping,
Right.
According to police report, Spencer shot Fossler in the chest, arms, and abdomen with a Glock 19 Gen 4. The report does not say how many times each body part was hit, though a standard magazine for a Glock holds 19 holds 15 rounds.
15.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And by the way,
They didn't say in there that he reloaded 4 times.
yeah, Mr. Spencer, by the way, Airborne Ranger. If that helps.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was charged with second-degree murder and the commission of a felony with a firearm. That same day, his attorneys, Aaron Casanelli and Michael Kaiser. Now, Michael Kaiser.
That sounds awful for me.
That does sound familiar.
Is that the attorney? Was that the attorney for Johnny Depp?
Oh, goodness. I don't know.
I'm trying. Anyway, I could Google it, I guess. But they issued a statement calling Spencer a decorated war hero who protected his country and loving father whose heroic actions protected his family. They said Fossler repeatedly violated his child, kidnapped her in the dark of night to continue his assaults on her. Statement criticized prosecutors for even bringing charges against Spencer at all. Can't disagree with that. Accused prosecutors of perpetrating these horrors instead of protecting legitimate victims and punishing true criminal offenders. And thanked those who had voiced their outrage over the treatment of Aaron, his child, and the rest of his family and what they had suffered.
That's every dad's nightmare.
It is. It is absolutely every day. If you could sit 1,000 dads down in a room, 1,000 of us,
Yeah.
and even if they're a deadbeat dad and they have nothing to do with their children,
Right.
in the recesses of their being, it is in our DNA.
Exactly.
God put it in our DNA. Your greatest fears,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
especially when it's your little girl.
Yep.
You know that someone would do them harm like that,
Yep. Well,
and.
I can tell you what the prosecutors don't want. They don't want me on the jury.
No, that's why I said don't move that trial down to Union County. We'll
It's gonna be real quick.
It'd be real funny when
They deliberated in the jury pool. They didn't even leave.
that jury is me, David Lee, Buddy Hall, Boomer, and a few
We
others.
just did a show of hands right there.
Not guilty. Mr. Sanford, we're sorry. We haven't even begun. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Is that the fellow what molested his daughter?
Right, yeah.
Not guilty.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, that. Anyway,
It's a sad situation.
It is.
like I said, prosecutors did ask for a gag order. Mr. Spencer's attorneys then filed a 19-page response saying, no gag orders needed. And the judge gave them one anyway. Well, then the Arkansas Supreme Court came back and said, no, you don't get to do that.
Good for the Arkansas Supreme Court.
Yeah, it's going to be that. So, Mr. Spencer, now, again, I did talk to some friends of mine up there, and they said, I don't really know that he has a prayer of being sheriff. Not really sure he necessarily wants to be, but his point is well made.
Exactly.
And they said, now, a not guilty verdict could be exactly what a campaign needs. Don't
Never
ask,
hurts.
Don't ask Donald J. Trump though. He'll say, "No, let him find you guilty, brother."
Yeah.
That's the way to go. That's the way to go. So, hey, just to prove it doesn't happen only in the South and only in Florida, this story comes to us out of Prince George, British Columbia, and one man was pulled over while driving the quite unusual vehicle down a busy road. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police reported. During heavy traffic, Prince George police spotted a man driving a hot pink kids Barbie Jeep.
Oh, my God.
At 9 a.m. An onlooker caught the driver riding dirty down the road, posting photos of the incident on a social media with the caption, "Whose uncle is this? Someone come get your uncle."
Get your uncle.
Canadian police said that any vehicle that requires more than a person's muscles to get going, i.e. a bicycle, requires a motorist to have a valid insurance and a license. Quote, while it may seem as an inefficient use of police time to pull over a driver in a toy car, the risk the driver was creating to other motorists on the road who were forced to go around him, coupled with the risk to himself, as other drivers are not in the habit of looking for toy cars on a busy road, was enough to warrant police attention, the mounted police said in a statement. During the traffic stop, police say they learned the man had a suspended license. They gave him 2 breath samples, which showed he was over the legal limit for alcohol. The driver, who was later identified as Casper Lincoln, was arrested for prohibited driving. He then told the newspaper afterwards he's also facing a DUI charge. He also told them that he had a hankering for a Slurpee, and he decided to take his roommate's daughter's little Jeep to go get the sweet treat. And this was his first time he'd ever taken her ride.
The good thing about that, when they take him to jail, you don't have to tow the car. Just put it in the back seat.
Just throw it in the back seat. That's right.
Back seat. That's right.
Hey, Ralph. Hey, Ralph. Hey, put that in the trunk. Hey,
Put that in the trunk.
So, all right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We're going to talk to David Lee about some of the stuff going on at the Boys and Girls Club, and we'll find out what's happening around El Dorado and Union County and all of South Arkansas after this on Off the Back Porch.
Buying this boat was a total no-brainer.
Okay, I get it. You say no-brainer and the guy with no brain shows up.
I'm sorry, we met our new boat.
For a new boat? You don't call me. You call State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is...
There?
I was gonna say that.
He's right. Your State Farm agent can help you choose the right coverage for your new boat and your RV. It's kind of a no-brainer. Easy decision.
All right.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Everybody loves a parade, and hilarious pizza throws parades all week long. Bring the family in for your favorites, or explore the variety that Hilarious Pizza offers. Come join us at Hilarious Pizza for the greatest parade ever.
Homes are typically heated or cooled 24/7, 365, using nearly half of all home energy. That new stainless steel refrigerator may look cool, but upgrading to the quietest and most efficient HVAC system can have much greater rewards. Choose a system with a Wi-Fi enabled thermostat, so the most important appliance in the house is also the smartest, allowing you to set the perfect comfort level from anywhere. Presented by Lennox. Learn what perfect feels like at Lennox.com.
If you born and raised in Arkansas, make some noise right now. You got
they've built right here in your town.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer. And Boomer out this week, and we'll be out again next week. And we'll see if I can find, maybe we need to get a third person in to help us make up for no Boomer.
Still trying to make
I
up.
mean, where the bar is with us. I mean,
Yeah.
it
Move
can't
that,
be too
move
hard
that up
to-
close. Move that up closer to your mouth. There you go.
There we go.
There, nobody be able to. They can hear you now.
I had it down there for a reason.
Yeah,
That's right.
he can say what he wanted to say then.
Exactly.
So, David,
Yes, sir.
tell us about what's going on a little bit of the Boys Girls Club.
Man, so it's the fall. So, well, that's our busy time right now. So
Busier than baseball?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's saying something.
Yeah, the fall is extremely busy. Last night we had our Youth of the Year celebration at MAD, and that was wonderful. We were able to honor our Youth of the Year and some younger kids, rising stars. Mr. Donnie was catering it, and it was a great event. It's always great when we can recognize our kiddos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coming up, we have some teen events coming up. I think November 6th, we're doing a blacklight dodgeball with the junior high.
Oh.
So when we do teen events, at first we did everybody together, kind of junior high up, and they're like, they don't mix. So now it's like we're going to do junior high event, and we're doing teen events. We have a teen event on Halloween at the Tack House, I believe, coming up. And there's a sneaker ball in early December with our junior high kiddos.
Okay, say on Halloween. So you mean that Friday the 31st?
Friday night.
Okay,
Yeah, my
home
staff's
football
really brave
game.
wanting to do it.
Home football game that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, our Fall Fest is the Tuesday before Halloween. And we get 500 plus kids easily at our events there, easily. Because usually 30 minutes into it, the SOS is sent to me and one of my staff, we have to go to Walmart and buy $600-700 worth of candy because we run out that fast.
Yeah.
So that's coming up. We're registering right now for flag football, volleyball, girls volleyball. We're in the middle of soccer right now. Man, it's just a very, very busy time right now, which is good. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Hey, when you mentioned Halloween, what is your all-time go-to favorite Halloween candy?
I can tell you what it's not.
Okay.
Candy corn.
Okay.
That's the most disgusting, in my opinion. So for me, man, I'm just a Snickers guy. I'm chocolate. I want chocolate. I don't want the sugary. I want chocolate. Whether it's Mr. Goodbar, Snickers, Crunch, all them, Kit Kats. That's what I'm always. M&M, peanut M&Ms. That's my my kryptonite right there. That's it.
Yeah.
How about you, buddy?
Tootsie Rolls.
Tootsie Rolls.
I like the Tootsie Rolls. Yeah, absolutely.
My kids pay tax.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm a benevolent dictator.
Right.
Yes.
And, at some point, you owe for that.
That's right.
You have to have a candy tax.
So that comes in the form of any Heath bars you get.
Okay, yeah.
And any Milk Duds.
Okay.
Now, I may share some of them back with you, but at first it's a 100% confiscation.
Well, I don't know where your kids were going because my kids never came back with Heath bars.
Yeah, it's very rare. It's very rare.
I was stuck on the Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah. And listen, it's hard to teach your kids to be grateful for what they get. When one year, my son Cam, who's now a teacher at the high school, Cam comes back and we're going through his bag and he holds it up. And it's some fruit fiber gummies.
Oh, my gosh.
I was like, yeah, but it's hard to be grateful and thankful for those. I get it.
But you know what time of year it is? It's the most glorious time coming up. When they already started selling it, but I refuse to buy anything until November, is Christmas tree cakes.
Oh, yeah.
Little Debbie
Christmas tree cakes.
Yeah.
That anointed prophetess of the Lord, Little Debbie.
That is the time of year right there. And then, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but with Easter, and I wish they'd do it more, but that's the only time I can ever get Peeps. And I think I'm the only person around here that likes Peeps.
When
I
I was a kid, I think I liked Peeps just because it was confectionery sugar.
That's right.
But as I've gotten older, I don't really care for them.
Have you seen all the flavors they have in them things these days?
Yeah, because, when I was a kid, you basically had yellow, and then I think maybe pink and blue come along.
Yeah. Yep.
Same
Dr.
flavor,
Pepper
different colors.
Yes.
That's right. They have Dr. Pepper ones now. So.
My whole family likes them. I don't, but my whole family
so
loves
I'm not
them.
alone.
You're not alone.
Oh, good.
No,
good.
Listen, they'll eat Peeps with you any day.
I think I'm the only one in my house, maybe the princess, who likes Twizzlers.
Oh, yeah.
Now, see, for me, when it really comes to it, when it comes to candy, I want fruity and chewy. That's what I want. much to the chagrin of my dentist. I've got $30,000 worth of dental work here done, and I'm still over here eating Skittles.
Yeah.
He's mailing you Skittles.
That's right. So you have your cardiologist ready to go, and your dentist ready to go.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Now all I got to do is piss off Robert Watson, my primary care physician, and
job security for them guys.
Yeah. So,
but Little Debbie's, man, it's like there's nothing. You can't go to a deer stand without a box of them in your bag.
See, that's my problem.
You just have to.
I will sit there and eat them all.
You have to.
I will do that.
You have to.
And the hard part for me was I've mentioned before, I started chewing tobacco when I was 8 years old, and I did that until I was 52. So for 44 years, I chewed tobacco. And actually, my favorite thing for many years was to go get in the deer stand, and in the mornings I get up, first thing pee, then I brush my teeth. I don't feel like I'm awake till I brush my teeth. Right. And because, there's something about 3 times over the sink and you seem to wake up.
Right.
And then the very next thing I would do is make sure I'm decent enough to walk through the house in case any kids were up. And I'd go in there and find my little can of snuff. And
now, see, I don't consider that chewing tobacco.
So
that's worm dirt.
Yeah, of course.
That's dip. I call it dip.
Yeah.
So because when I was a kid, shame to say this, my dad used to let me do that, but it was a Levi Garrett thing with me.
Yes.
Yeah. I do it all the time, but we played baseball and all that. We were 12-year-olds. It was like Sandlot when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
blue jeans.
Yeah.
Chewing tobacco. I would wrap Big League Chew around my Levi Garrett.
Yep, we did that.
I don't think I could take it anymore. If I
No.
do they even sell Levi Garrett anymore?
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah,
Okay.
surely they do. Yeah.
Interesting.
I quit like chewing tobacco because they started putting so much freaking sugar in it. And like spike your blood sugar.
That's what you were doing, right?
And but now there used to be this kind that came in a black pouch. It was called Lancaster, and it was the best stuff, man. It was good. Daddy and I both liked it, and I was about 12, and Daddy's like, "Man, y'all try this. This is good." And that's how I got started. Again, Daddy was a ball player. He was a baseball player, and so it was just natural for him. So I remember we were squirrel hunting, and it was the opening day of squirrel season in Texas, and I can tell you that date, October 15th, every year. It's the opening day of squirrel season, and it's opening day of squirrel season. I'm 8, about to be 9 years old, and we're sitting there under this tree, and Daddy pulls him out a can of Skull, and he opens it up. And then he just hands it over to me, and and that's where it started.
That was it?
Yeah, that's where it started. Yeah.
Was it in the little pouches or was
No,
it
that was real Skull.
That's before pouches.
There was pouches came out a few years later.
Man.
And then I got to where I started buying Red Man. They called them totem poles.
Yeah.
They were a plug. It was a plug tobacco, and that
Yes,
I
remember.
liked
That's right.
those.
Yeah.
That's right.
But then as time went on, I just got I was a Copenhagen guy forever and ever and ever. And probably about 7 or 8 years ago, I walked in a store here in town, and I was like, "Yeah, I need some Copenhagen, blah blah blah." And they're like, "Yeah, we don't have any." So I turned around and leave, and this guy said, "Excuse me, I'm sorry, are you really fixing to leave the store because they don't have the chewing tobacco?" I was like, "Yeah." That's all I came in here for.
Like
and if they don't have it,
it's like the difference between Pepsi and Coke, right?
Right, yeah. No, Pepsi's not okay.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I'm like, yeah, that's all I came in here for. He said, "If I gave you a coupon, would you try Grizzly?"
Oh.
I was like, okay.
I've heard of Grizzly.
And so he gave me a coupon that basically gave me a can of Grizzly for free.
Right.
And I tried it, and I was like, okay, not bad. And he said, "Tell you what," he wrote me out 5 more of them. And he said,
trying to get you hooked, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't a hard job. And he said, "Try your whole roll, and then if you still want to go back to Copenhagen, fine. But you're going to enjoy these a lot more, and you're going to find out they're a lot cheaper." Well, the first thing I noticed was I normally went through, when I was dipping Copenhagen, a can a day. I opened a can every morning, and I had to open another one the next morning.
Yeah.
When I started dipping Grizzly, it was a can plus 1 dip before I opened another can. So it was lasting me a little bit longer. I didn't spit nearly as much, and I liked that. And but man, I was going to my dentist, and she's just on my butt about, so you're still dipping, and it's just constant every time I went. And so, I know it's not good for me. Okay, I know this. I didn't get this age by being stupid. Even though I do stupid things.
Neither is ice cream, but come on, man.
Yeah, that's right. But so I don't know. I just one day somebody said, "Man, if you want to quit dipping, you ought to just get you some of them little nicotine pouches." And I thought, well, what good does that do? You just switching vices, you know. And I mentioned it to my doctor, and he said, actually, it's not the nicotine in the snuff that you put in your mouth that's hurting you. It is the tobacco.
Right.
It is the carcinogenic. He said the nicotine's actually pretty good for you.
Have you seen the studies coming out on nicotine and the medicinal purposes?
And better vascular health and all kinds of stuff.
And they're saying that a lot of the smokers during COVID didn't get COVID. And they're saying it's because of the nicotine. I don't know, but there's a bunch of stuff coming out now on that.
And so I decided one day, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna. So I stopped at the store and I bought me a little can of those pouches, and lo and behold, almost 2 years later now.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and your
dentist isn't yelling at you anymore?
No.
So you're good.
So here's the funny part. So I just had an appointment just like a few weeks ago, and I'm sitting there in the chair, and she said, if I hadn't known for a fact, and you had not told me for a fact that you had dipped for 40 years,
wouldn't know it.
I wouldn't. She said, your gums are as healthy as anybody who's ever been in my chair.
Wow.
And, again, hindsight's 20/20. I probably could have saved $25,000 of the work I've had done in my mouth if I hadn't been gnawing my teeth with tobacco all those years, but
don't even go there.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that about rewind and pause buttons?
Yeah, yesterday was yesterday. Let's look forward.
That's right.
Yeah, those rewind and pause buttons. So,
exactly.
But yeah, when it comes to candies, I want fruity and chewy. So I like Starburst, although I don't like peeling them. I like Twizzlers. And one of my secretaries, she worked for me, and she was like, I'd been going out of town. I come back, and she said, "You are a liar." I was like, wow, what? She said, you had me convinced that Twizzlers were good, and they are not. They are terrible. She said, that is a waxy lie.
A waxy lie.
So God bless you, Amy. She did not like Twizzlers. And so I could always bet on November 1st every year, any Twizzlers her kids got, they would end up on my desk.
On your desk.
Yeah, they'd end up on my desk, which is fine by me.
Yeah.
I don't want you to have them anyway. So, yeah. Let's see some other stuff that's coming up around the area. October 25th, Saturday, October the 25th, from 6 until 10, the annual Night of the Living Newtons is back at the Newton House. All the family fun that you have come to love will be in abundance, but watch out for ghosts and ghouls lurking around the Newton House Museum. Then, of course, also Saturday, October the 25th, Smackover Old Town Festival is back.
Oh, okay.
Now, David, you would remember. I mean, at one time it was a late spring, early summer event.
Yes, right.
And now they brought it back as a fall event, and I think that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, our Smackover location is going to have a booth out there. We're excited about that.
They're going to have, I think they're going to have wrench tossing or something to do with. They got a whole bunch of oil rig stuff that they do.
Yeah. Oh, them guys are fast. Too,
they are
the
too.
way.
Yeah,
they're really good.
That's always fun to watch. I went one year. They had a mechanical bull.
Oh, really?
And that was fun to watch. I wasn't going to do it, but it was fun to watch. It was even better at night when people had already maybe they'd tailgated a little bit to an Arkansas Razorback baseball game or something, and they came over there and decided now's the time to ride that mechanical bull. Yeah, that got fun to watch.
Get you some popcorn.
Yes, absolutely.
Pop a squat.
And of course, they're going to have a chili cook-off this year, and that's going to be
chili or bean soup.
They say chili.
Okay.
They say chili. And then, of course, they're going to have a bunco tournament, a 5K car show, arts and crafts, full, bunch of vendors.
all kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And, of course, the duck race. Don't forget the duck race. That, to me, is the highlight of Smackover Old Town Festival, is the duck race. Everybody goes over there and buys their ducks.
Right.
And then you watch them dump them in that creek, and you're like, that one's mine right there. Oh, it's the one hung behind that twig. It'll never catch up now.
And you're missing an event. I don't know, it might be on your list or not, but on Friday, I'm with Kiwanis too. Pancake Day.
Oh.
That's a big day.
Pancake Day this Friday.
Can't miss that.
Oh, my gosh.
Is that the 24th?
What is this Friday coming
The
up?
17th.
17th, yeah.
Okay.
17th, yeah. That's
What time does that start?
I think 11.
Okay.
11 o'clock. And there's 2 shifts, I think, and it ends like at 7 in the evening, I believe, something like that.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh! And the kids at the club, that's a highlight because they furnish the club with pancakes and sausage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a big deal.
Yeah. Get them kids a bunch of pancakes and syrup and send them home.
Yes. Yes.
Let's see. Coming up also on Saturday, October the 25th, El Dorado's Best Trunk or Treat is back. A spooky fun free event hosted by One Heart Karate and Jiu-Jitsu. That's going to happen on the 25th from 2 until 5 at the parking lot of Northwest Elementary School, 1600 North College. They're going to have music, games, prizes, lots of candy. All ages are welcome. Costumes are encouraged. Bring friends, family, and a Halloween spirit. Now, you need to RSVP. That's the important part about this one. 870-639-9907. 870-639-9907. And then announced this week, Lone Star and Colin Ray coming to El Dorado, Arkansas,
wow. I haven't heard that yet.
to Murphy Arts District. Yeah, they're going to be here in December the 11th, and they're doing a tour called 2025 Christmas Plus Hits.
Oh, that's
so
be good.
they'll sing,
that'd be
sing
good.
their top hits and some Christmas songs.
Christmas stuff.
That's
Nice.
going to be cool. You know, I unfortunately in this is the only aspect where I say unfortunately, I married the Grinch, and she doesn't like Christmas music. And
You gotta be kidding me.
She says I'm fine with it after Thanksgiving, but I don't want it before Thanksgiving. And I get it. I understand. But me, I could listen to Jose Feliciano's Feliz Navidad in
Amen.
July. I mean,
And all I want for Christmas is you. Are you kidding me? Anytime.
Freddie Fender's Christmas Time in the Valley.
Oh, Freddie Fender.
Yeah.
Can we go
You
back
bring
to
back
that
some-
question
you
you
bring back
asked us
some
earlier
memories.
about I don't trust people who?
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't trust people who don't like Christmas music. Come on, man. Let's go.
Exactly.
But I am with your wife. Let's do it after Thanksgiving.
Well, her thing is she says it's an assault on Thanksgiving. And I get it. I understand. And you know what? Thanksgiving is her favorite holiday, and it's my favorite holiday.
Okay.
So I totally understand.
You know where I got introduced to Freddie Fender? You remember the Mexican restaurant that used to be across from the Sonic here years and years ago?
No, I
That's
don't.
before my time.
Okay, I can't think of the name of it. But they had a jukebox in the back of it, and it had Freddie Fender on it. Mm-hmm. And every time we'd go in there, my dad would play Freddie Fender.
Yeah.
Like
And-
where Wendy's is now in that area, or
Yeah. If you pull out of the Sonic restaurant,
Yeah.
right across
Oh,
the street.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Right there by the jewelry place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was Antunes. Antunes Jewelers
Yeah,
was
yeah.
right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Right.
And now it's an insurance agency.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, that was before my time. But I mean, George Strait's Christmas cookies. You know, I mean, or how about this? Let's do old school. Charles Brown, Please Come Home for Christmas.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, of course, the Eagles who do a great version of it too. You know, I've often said that outside of Christmas music, there are very few remakes of a song that people should have done. Because, listen, there's no reason for anyone to ever sing He Stopped Loving Her Today.
Right.
Oh, man.
Right.
There's no reason for anyone to ever sing Hello, Darling.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you're not going to do it justice. I'm sorry.
no.
I don't care who you are.
You failed before you started.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
That's like showing up to the golf course, you and your buddy showing up wearing matching shirts and shoes. You better be bringing it, is all I can
That's
say.
right. Yeah.
If you show up wearing matching clothes, you better be bringing it.
You better be
That's
going
right.
low.
That's yeah. I want to see you come in with a negative double-digit number on your
Exactly.
scorecard.
That's right.
But I've often said the Eagles owe us an apology for singing I Can't Tell You Why after Vince Gill came out with the remake. Because Vince Gill's remake to me is better than the Eagles version.
Yeah.
And there's not many things I will say that about.
No, but it is. It is so good.
It is so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Eagles redid that song, Charles Brown's "Please Come Home for Christmas." That bells will be ringing. I love blues anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
And I don't know, have y'all seen this latest trend on TikTok? They're taking like modern day rap songs, for example, and making them like 1960s Memphis blues style. And so there's nothing like hearing "I'm the Real Slim Shady." Would the Real Slim Shady please stand up in 1940s, like Big Easy, you know, Big Easy style.
Does it come off pretty good?
Oh man, does it come
Okay,
off?
I've got to look it
Yeah,
up.
yeah. When we get done, I'm just going to let y'all hear one.
Yeah, I'd like
because
to.
there was one, and it was Snoop Dogg's Gin and Juice, and they do it in like I think it's 1950 Stax era, Stax music.
Yeah.
And or maybe it's Motown, but anyway, it's that style. Golly, it's good. It's, you don't even listen to the words that are being said just because of the emphasis and the soul that is coming out of this, and you're like, holy cow! So,
do y'all have like a Christmas movie go to?
Well, I mean, obviously the Christmas Story is,
when
I
they
love
do that marathon, it's just on.
Ours is Elf.
Yes,
I love Elf.
Yes, we do Elf.
But it plays at our house all year long.
Yes,
I mean,
all year.
Yes,
Thank you.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Christmas Vacation for us. That's
Home
like
Alone.
the family. Yeah.
Home Alone 2 specifically.
The one in New York's better.
Yeah.
That's right.
It is.
Yeah, Home Alone 2. And then, of course, that Christmas classic, The Godfather. Which did come out in Christmas 1971, but or 1972.
You got to
Die Hard, a Christmas movie.
Is
that a Christmas movie?
It is.
I say Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a debate that I've had before. Someone said, "All right, favorite Christmas movie in 3. 1, 2, 3." I said Die Hard, and they're like, "What?"
I've never seen that movie. I'm ashamed to
You got
admit
to
that.
watch it this Christmas.
I'll have to watch
during
it.
the season.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely during the season. It's better.
During the season. Yeah.
Right, I'll have to try
Yippee-ki-yay.
We're going to end right there.
Yeah. But man, that's favorite Christmas movie. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely that one. We were having that discussion about favorite rom-com, and I said Juno, and they're like, Juno's a rom-com? I said, don't tell me it's not. What is it, an action movie? I mean, Juno's a rom-com, It's a chick flick, So, it's a little raunchy. I was like, okay.
You didn't say it couldn't be raunchy.
That's right.
That's right.
Porkies.
You want to talk about a movie that pushed the envelope back in the day?
Back in the day, yes.
Yeah.
You better believe it did, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it did. It did a great deal. And, the bad part is right down the road from where I grew up in East Texas was a little nightclub called Solly's. And,
Solly's.
Yeah. And Solly's was a BYOB club. They didn't have a liquor license.
Just have to bring your own. Okay.
But you could bring your own.
Yeah.
And I think they had a beer and wine, on-premises beer and wine license.
You sure you weren't going to somebody's living room?
It could have been.
Okay.
It had 7 pool tables and a dance floor, but yeah, it was, but I remember the first time going to Solly's, I was like, oh, dear God, we're at Porky's. That's all I can think.
I've seen what goes on here.
Man, somebody's going to jail tonight.
Yeah,
I can just tell you, somebody's going to jail. Of all the stuff that you hear about, oh, man, don't go to such and such or this or that, I never had any trouble there. Never, ever, ever had a problem. Never got in a fight. Never got in a shoving match. Can't say that about church. Be the last time that deacon won't give me change out of the plate.
Now, you still go to Emmanuel, right?
Yeah.
So one of the funniest clips I'm seeing right now about Clark is when he was talking about, I could die
funny.
like tomorrow, and in 2 weeks the church is going to replace me. And somebody said, amen.
But it was his laugh. It was his laugh
it was
that
so
got
funny,
me.
man. It was hilarious.
Listen, we love Clark. Oh,
Yeah,
my
Clark's
gosh.
good
He's
guy.
a good guy. He's funny, and he's a great preacher and a good pastor. We're talking about pastors.
Yeah.
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 You know, I was telling Buddy earlier, there have been very few times in my life, and I'm not going to say any names, but there's been very few times in my life where I had a good pastor who was also a good preacher.
Yeah.
Now, I've had pastors who were fabulous preachers. Man, house on fire behind the pulpit. They could bring it, rightly divide the word. But they sucked at being a pastor. I mean, they sucked at it. They didn't. Their heart wasn't in the pastorship.
Yeah.
You know, they could preach, they could bring it, they could administrate, they could do all those things. When it come down to loving people and shepherding the flock,
right.
it just wasn't there. Then that pastor left after 17 or plus years. He moved on. We got a new pastor who was a great pastor. Man, just every visitor that walked in the door just felt like this was home and where they should be. But my gosh, he was such a wet blanket behind the pulpit.
But let somebody else preach, right?
Yeah, let somebody else preach, man. It was bad. It was bad.
We're really blessed to have a lot of good pastors here.
Yeah.
And once in my life have I had a good pastor who was also a dynamic orator. Right. And I always said it would be, I felt for anyone who had to walk into the pulpit behind him because he was that good. But he was also that good of a pastor. And, you know, there were times that I called him middle of the night because something was going on, and it was never did I hear a yawn or a what nothing. I mean, he'd answer and what's up, brother?
Yeah,
and
in minute.
Yeah.
Right.
And there was a time, and again, it may edit this out. Jax, my oldest son, was in 6th grade. He was at Washington. I remember that. And they called me and said, hey, he's running a little bit of a fever. You might want to come get him. So I go over there to the school, and I'm like, yeah, how high was his fever? 104.7. That's not a little. That's not a little fever.
Yeah, that's pretty high.
So we leave there and we drive back across town, and we're sitting out in front of Robert Watson's office. Well, it's right at 12, so they just went to lunch, and I'm thinking, we'll just sit here until 1 o'clock.
Right.
They get back from lunch. About 25, 30 minutes, we're sitting there, and he's just kind of passed out in the seat over next to me, and he just starts talking crazy, and I mean just gibberish, and I'm thinking he's about to have a seizure. So, man, we head to the ER. We get to the ER, and his temperature's like 105.1. And, of course, immediately they're plugging IVs into him. They're doing all this stuff. And they're like asking me all these questions. I'm like, nothing. He woke up fine this morning. And so at one point, they're like, okay, we're going to do a spinal tap. We got to check for meningitis. And so they roll him over, and I'm standing there, and I watched them. I watched with my own eyes them draw the fluid out. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I know that fluid's supposed to be clear, okay? And when it came out, it was not clear.
Yeah.
And I knew then this kid's got spinal meningitis. And the doctor told me, we're going to run the test, but I can just tell you. I was like, yeah, I get it. And so they come back in. They said, all right, Angel 1 is on a run, but as soon as it lands at Children's, it's coming here. And in the meantime, I had called my pastor, and he showed up. And I saw him when he walked in. He didn't see me, but I saw him when he walked in, and he stopped when he got in the emergency room. And I could tell he just stopped, and he was praying right there. He comes on back, prays with Jax. He leaves. Doctors come in. Angel 1's being held up. If need be, we can call ProMed and get you on an ambulance right now. I was like, just this gives me a little bit of time to kind of set some things in order. I called my mom and my dad and just kind of let them know. And in the meantime, I'm still trying to get a hold of Jax's mom and let her know. And so I'm like, okay, get all this going at 1001. And all of a sudden, Jax sits up in his bed, and he puts his hand on his own head and starts praying for himself. And he lays back down. They come back in and said, Angel 1's still being held up. Do you want us to call ProMed? Nope. We'll wait on Angel 1. Because my thing is, by the time ProMed got there, Angel 1 could have been landed.
That's right.
Right.
So I'm like, we'll just wait. And but I had already called Ken Kelly at ProMed and said, Ken's like, got it. I got one on standby. You say the word, we've got him. I was like, okay. And I think he even stationed him. He even put him at the ER I said, if they could get his fever below 105, I wouldn't be as concerned, but they can't,
And it's going the wrong way.
Yeah. And so, I don't know, a little bit later, his temperature, they check it, 103. A few minutes later, the little machine kicks back on, checks it, 101. A few minutes later, his machine kicks up, 99. Now he's sitting there talking in his right mind.
Yeah.
He hadn't done that in hours. And he tells doctors, I'm fine. Has no temperature. All the aches and pains, nothing. It's all gone. And they said, before we put him on a helicopter, we need to do another spinal tap.
Gosh.
And so they do. And I'm standing there, and I watched that fluid, and it came out clear, crystal clear. I firmly believe he was healed in that hospital room that day.
Absolutely.
We got home that evening, and he's playing in the floor, And I was like, hey, bud, let me ask you a question. You sat up in the bed and prayed for yourself. He's like, yeah. He said, I forgot you couldn't see him.
Uh-oh.
Couldn't see who? He said, 2 angels came through the wall when Pastor left. They came through the wall and told me I was under attack, that I needed to pray for myself, that my prayer and Pastor's prayer was going to be enough. And he said, so I sat up and prayed for myself.
Give me goosebumps.
And I was like, who am I to tell him?
That's right.
No. who am I to tell him that's not what he saw? That's what happened. The kid sat up in the bed, prayed for himself, and an hour later was home.
The temperature was gone. Yeah, temperature was gone.
An hour later was done, and we were leaving.
Wow.
And
we doubt.
Yeah, and then you're like, Lord, I wish there was something you could do about this.
Right.
There's plenty He can do.
Exactly.
There's plenty He can do.
Plenty.
But I said all that to say that pastor especially was, man. Anytime you got a bunch of teenagers, there's always something. And he was always Johnny on the spot for me. He'd show up. And now I'll say this. He would also call me and say, hey, are you in your office? I was like, yeah. He said, good. Knock, knock, knock. He'd come in my office. And there were times that he literally walked in my office and sat there like this.
Just needed some space, huh?
10, 15 minutes. Yeah. And I just keep working. But he'd just sit there.
Yeah.
And he'd look up and say, man, I appreciate you, brother. And he'd leave.
Yeah.
And okay. But like I said, he just needed somewhere where he could just be him.
Yep.
He didn't have to be pastor. He didn't have to be reverend or minister.
Oh, yeah.
He could just be him.
Right.
For that few minutes and know that he could sit somewhere safe and there's going to be no judgment. There's going to be, and there were times that he would share things with me that he was battling or something he had to counsel somebody about and never names. He never said, oh man, you won't believe what brother so-and-so's going through. Nothing like that. But,
No, but pastors they're just like us. I mean,
they're not. They're superhumans.
Well, they are, but they need somebody close.
They do.
Yep.
They certainly do.
And a lot of times they don't have. A lot of times they don't have.
To them
yeah,
too.
a lot of times they don't have that.
Iron sharpens iron.
Exactly.
And so they do. And I don't know how they do it.
No.
I'm telling you.
A lot of weight on their shoulders.
Mm-hmm. School teachers.
Yeah.
Pastors.
Yeah, I agree.
And executive directors of the Boys Club. I don't know how y'all do it. I don't know. I'm all kidding aside. I don't know how you do it.
Before we get away from the spinal tap, I tell you, I never told you about the time I almost lost a really good friend over a spinal tap.
No.
Oh, yeah. I was in the emergency room having a spinal tap. I consider Dr. Greg Smart one of my really, really good friends. And so he had me bent over, and he stuck that needle in my back, and he goes, you doing okay? I said, man, I'm doing a whole lot better now. My legs went numb. It took him a while to forgive me for that.
I went to my doctor, and I had weed eated around my mother-in-law's pond. Idiot, and I didn't just weed eat like from here to there. I weed eated both sides of the dam, all the way around, all the way back up the path to her house, and not just a walking path. I'm talking about you could have driven two semis. Landed a plane on it. I mean, I was such an idiot. And went through, $38 worth of string, Man, about 3 days later, I couldn't move. I couldn't walk.
That's right.
And it was the side to side.
Yeah.
And I go in to see Robert Watson, my doctor, and he's like, all right. He took some x-rays and gave me a steroid pack. Man, my back felt fine. I'm telling you right then, for the next week, I could have run marathons. Man, my back, I don't remember my back ever not hurting like that.
Your wife don't do the same thing when I get a steroid pack. My wife makes out a to-do list.
Is that
around
right?
the house because she knows
you're gonna feel the best you're gonna feel.
I'm gonna be up. I'm gonna be awake. I'm gonna have energy.
Yeah,
we get a lot of stuff done.
It's funny you said that about that pond, Joshua. He has until Friday to get it done, but he's weed eating a big pond. That boy was out there from sun up until I think he got home about 6. I didn't even see it. He went straight to bed.
Yeah.
He is wrecked right now. He took today off. He's going to go back tomorrow.
So after that 7 days, goes back, man, I'm down again.
Mm-hmm.
I go back. He said, all right, we're going to send you to physical therapy. I went to one day of that. I went back to him and said, let's don't do that again. I said,
they'll work you, won't
I
they?
said, bless that girl's heart. I said, she went home and slept like a baby, I can promise you. Because she was basically just using her body weight to stretch me and all that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not a light fella, okay? I'm lighter than I used to be, but I'm not small by any means. And he was like, well, we can always do a shot. And I said, why didn't you say that to begin with?
Why don't we start with that?
Why didn't we start with the shot? He's like, anyway. He said, all right, drop your pants. And I was like, it's my back. He said, she needs you to drop your pants.
It'll get there.
Yeah. So I do. And he's got a student with him, a female student with him. And there I am standing bare-assed in front of her. Probably looks like cottage cheese running through a colander. So evidently there's a nerve that runs along your tailbone, and it kind of looks like a Texas Longhorn. It does one of these. And he's trying to hit this point and this point in there. So he starts pushing that needle in, and I'm like, whew, man. And I'm standing there. I'm just leaned up against the wall.
Right.
I'm not laid on a table or been. I'm just leaned up against a wall.
Assume the position.
And remembering that HBO special about prisons and how they would do them there, and just like, I'm vulnerable. And I'm just standing there. And man, I mean, like, oh dear God. And finally, he's like, I felt him hit that nerve. I was like, oh. And I let out a big old breath, and he's like, there it is. And I was like, yeah, there it is.
Took you long enough.
And then he injects this acid and lava into me. And he pulls that needle. I said, dear God, Robert, how long is that needle? And he said, I don't know what. And I turned and looked, and he said, 5.5, 6 inches.
Oh my gosh.
Looked like a sword.
Oh, dear Lord.
He put it back in a sheath.
Yeah. I was like, man. He said, I forgot you have a real high threshold for pain. He said, most people pass out. I said, I didn't know it was an option. I would have.
We'd have gone there quick.
Yeah. He said, so I went to pull my pants up. He said, oh, I still got to get the other side. I'm like, oh, dear God.
No, it's okay. I'll die.
Yeah,
it's all right. Don't worry about it.
So, no, I let him get the other side.
You must have been in some big time pain.
I was. Ooh. And, but, I've been right as rain since. I mean, now I've still got a 54-year-old back, but it's but I haven't had any of those problems.
And if it does hurt again, you're sure not telling him.
Hey, it's gonna have to get really, really bad.
Right.
Yeah, that or I'm gonna find me a steroid salesman. Man, listen, can you give me the hookup?
That's right.
I don't want that bathtub meth or any of that. Just some steroids. That's all I need. Prednisone, man. I need some prednisone.
Give me some stem cells.
Yeah, something. Yeah, something, man. I can't do that. But I don't care to go through that again. But here's the funny part. And they say, man, doesn't getting old suck? I said, yeah, but it's better than the alternative.
No, you're
the
right.
alternative is dying young.
Yeah.
Right.
So getting old.
I don't want to die with a good body.
Yeah. I want to wear mine all the way out. I want it to be like them treads on my first pickup truck when I finally had to get tires. I want it to be slick as a baby's butt. I want to use it all up. And so.
Do y'all shop at Brookshire's?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Almost exclusively.
I shopped there one morning. It was a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just checking out. Right, get my Dr. Pepper. Right, that's real good for you. And this kid runs up that works there, and he goes, "Oh, wait, sir." And he puts it in. What are you doing? He goes, "Senior citizen discount."
Oh no, he did not.
He did. I'm like, you're kidding me, man.
I don't ever stop him.
Now I get offended if you don't do it.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes he forgets. Hey, aren't you forgetting something?
You get over that pretty quick,
that's right?
Yeah.
That's right. I couldn't believe it. I called Michelle. I was like, "You believe this?" And she just started dying laughing.
Got to look at your receipt and see if the savings was worth it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, well, gentlemen, thank y'all so much for coming and being with us this week. I appreciate it very much. And that's going to do it for us. I want to remind you that coming up this Friday night, the El Dorado Wildcats will be at home taking on Benton, yes. I was drawing a blank.
You're welcome.
I almost said Texas A&M because Arkansas is playing A&M this week.
Yeah.
But taking on the Aggies. But no, El Dorado will face off with Benton, and both teams come in 4-2. Man, I tell you, I bragged on El Dorado's defense, and El Dorado's defense was still like it was last week. I mean, a couple of plays.
Yeah.
That really was. There were just like a couple of plays that made the difference in that game with Sylvan Hills. And I'll tell you something else. Sylvan Hills is no joke.
No.
I mean, I've not seen anyone be able to hold that El Dorado offense back, and they did.
Yeah.
They did. And now, El Dorado was without their top running back, but they've got a committee, man. Bertavion Brown, whom you remember played baseball for me.
Yep, that's right.
And, man, that kid is a beast at everything he plays, first of all, but he scored a touchdown, and he spent most of the night in the offensive backfield playing outside linebacker. He's a beast, man. He really is, and a lot of great players on that team. So I'm excited. It's going to be a good game. There was a time where Benton used to be everybody's homecoming date because they were easy to beat, but they're not anymore.
Not anymore.
And because they started having to compete with Bryant.
Exactly.
And again, iron sharpens iron, and as the tide rises, all ships come up.
That's
and
right.
so, you know, Benton is there, and El Dorado's going to have their work cut out for them, and it's going to be a great game. So don't miss that game. If you can't be there, we will have it live on our Facebook channel, our Facebook page, South Arkansas Now, and it will also be on our YouTube channel. And that's where I've been getting the most comments. People are like, man, we go to the camp or we go up to our condo on the weekend. So we get there, we turn it on YouTube TV, and we flip right over there and we watch that whole game live, and it looks good.
Yeah.
It does.
Y'all are doing a great job with that.
It looks really good. And, you know, we had some real camera trouble at the very beginning of the season. And as I suspected, it was operator error, which, you know, so that would be me. And but we turned around and made another big investment to get a different camera that would do what we needed to do, and man,
you're doing a good job.
It does look good.
Even though we have to listen to Carter, it's
well,
playing. Carter does a good job.
He does.
You know, so if we could just get him to be still, you know, which maybe
He
that's
eats
not
a lot of Twizzlers before the game.
obviously so. Yeah, obviously so. But anyways, that game's coming up this Friday night. El Dorado taking on Benton, and then of course next Tuesday night, don't forget 5th and Goal, which is the weekly coaches show. Jack sits down with all the coaches from the area, and man, that is some insight to listen to those coaches. You know, I hosted that show for 12 years when we used to do it at Bayou Bistro, rest in peace, and out on the patio there. And I don't think I paid as much attention to the coaches as I do now.
Right.
I think because I knew my questions and what I was going to ask. Now I'm listening to them, and man, there's some insight. And you listen to those guys, and you realize that this isn't a guy who was just a teacher and they needed somebody to fill in. I mean, these are guys that this is what they do.
Exactly.
This is their calling.
They take it serious.
Yeah.
And what it means to them. And you know, I think about, for example, Byron Jones, who played at the University of Arkansas from Junction City, and the one that Nick Saban came here to visit, and I tried to run Nick Saban out of town, and he wouldn't leave. But Byron, I was listening to him a couple weeks ago on the show, on that coach's show. He said, you know, we want to play dragon football. And Jack said, what's dragon football? He said, we know that if you make a mistake, we need to capitalize on it. Our goal is to make you make mistakes.
Yeah.
He said, we don't just want you to turn it over. We want it on first down and second down.
Right.
He said, we count how many times we can get the ball away from you on first down. And, you know, when a defense comes into the game saying, Coach said we have to get 3 first down turnovers this week.
Yeah.
Man, you better have your hands on the ball,
That's
because those guys, that's all they're doing. They're just looking for that ball.
Right.
And, you know, that kind of mentality from a coach trickles down to those kids, and it shows. And, you know, as if Junction was not already hard enough to beat.
Right.
You know, and of course I heard Coach Jones say the other night, he said, we want to make Junction City the absolute worst place to be a visitor. We want to make it the absolute worst place to be a visiting team. And it was that for years anyway.
Right.
You know,
Right. Yeah.
He's got a kid on defense that's something serious.
Yes.
I forgot that kid is 6 foot something, 300 something. I mean, this kid is a monster.
And quick.
And not slow. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And I don't remember his name either. I'm sorry.
They'd be calling the medics if that kid tackled me.
Hey, listen. One year we're doing Meet the Cats. We used to do it at the old Murphy building.
Yeah.
I'd stand out there and I would introduce every Wildcat coach and every Wildcat player. And upcoming was our Arkansas commit, and, you know, 5 D1 scholarship offers, and Bijan Jackson. And Bijan comes running out of that tunnel, and he looks me dead in the eye, and he's coming right at me. Guys, I got to tell you, I think I peed myself a little bit that day. I think I did. And so the next year, he's a freshman at Arkansas, and they're playing Auburn. And the Auburn quarterback rolls around, and he tries to turn out of trouble from this side of the line, and when he turns around, there's Bijan.
Right there, yeah.
And Bijan hits him and just pile drives him into the ground. And I rolled it back on my TV, took a picture of the screen, posted it on Facebook, and said, I know how you feel, brother. I peed myself, too. Because I promise you, when he turned around, when he thought I'm going to escape this trouble, and he turned around and there was nothing but him and Bijan, he didn't like that view. He didn't like that view at all. All right, that's going to do it for us. Hey, until this time next week, y'all have a great weekend and a great week. God bless.